guys, welcome to the Ad Lib Podcast, the only podcast that doesn't tell you to go back to your country.
I think I'm the only one from us four who hasn't seen this video.
But like you haven't seen, guess what? He hasn't seen Bruce.
Empty Man, is this the
exactly.
It reached you as well.
I haven't seen Empty Man, I mean, to be fair. I keep thinking it's Slender. It's not Slender Man. Nothing.
No.
Okay.
Right.
Right.
To reiterate, the story was meant to look like some creepypasta shit, but it's not, and it's done by the guy who did the behind the scenes featurette of David Fincher. And even the menus work. So, and it has its, you see his influences. So do give it its chance.
What's the plot? Because I just hear you mentioning like Empty Man all the time, and I
every episode, literally every episode.
What's the plot?
It's basically like a ex-detective starts investigating like weird disappearances and occurrences, all involving this thing called the Empty Man, like this figure that people keep mentioning.
Okay.
It gets a lot more abstract than that. The film is basically like if David Fincher did like
existentialism,
a slow burn existential horror thriller.
No, it's very existentialist, you know.
That sounds like David Fincher, though.
It was but the director was very, very unfortunate because the film was supposed to be released before COVID. It got released during COVID. And the company that was supposed to release it, if I'm not mistaken, went bankrupt, and it was the last movie that they did.
No, not that, because it was basically it got put out to release because it's a Fox movie, and its release date got pushed, and then Disney bought Fox, and then Disney was like, we're not going to spend any money promoting this thing, so they just like threw it out there.
You're right. Yeah, the merger fucked him up basically.
Yeah.
So, did we pass the 8-minute mark? No, sorry.
2 minutes. We're still 2 minutes in.
We're demonetized.
Demonetized.
It's not like we're making money anyway. So.
But I have a question to Andrea. What is the Ad Lib Podcast all about?
Good question, Franco. So what is the Ad Lib Podcast all about? It's all about movies, all about series, all about video games. By the way, guys, I have been making a profit. I've been making a fortune off the podcast. You just didn't know.
Hey!
Is that what paid for the Bachelor's weekend that you just went on?
Pretty much. As you can hear, my voice is what it is today as a consequence of a very long weekend in Amsterdam. And you can tell I'm wearing the tracksuit as well.
Ajax.
The Ajax shirt. It was a good weekend. I'm still recovering though. I'm not 100%.
Andrea's Euro trip. Did you see the Green Fairy as well?
Have you ever seen that film? What's that film? It was by the guy who wrote American Psycho. It was like about teenagers.
Lallo, Roger Avery, naħseb, le?
Yes, Roger Avery directed it.
Laws of Attraction.
It was Rules of Attraction.
No,
Rules of Attraction.
Rules of Attraction, and there's a bit where a guy goes on like a Euro trip, which is like the most memorable bit in the film, and it's just like constant narration, non-stop, and it's just like footage of him going like, and he's like, went to the bar here, got drunk over here, gonna bang this girl, and it's like really fast and kind of like it's pretty cool. I'm just imagining Andrea going through something similar.
But don't tell his girlfriend, that's all.
No, she knows. She knows.
Okay. By the way, we have our special guest, Bruce Micallef, Eynaud. What can you tell us? What
Thanks
can you tell us
on.
about? You're welcome. Never again.
Glad to have you.
Never again.
For the great Elvis fight.
We're gonna need at least 4 or 5 podcasts.
We'll have 4 hours of discussion and then like an hour of mud wrestling, and then we'll finally settle.
Elvis Mortal Kombat. Elvis Combat. Okay. Oh, finish him. Yeah. That was such a shit impression of Elvis doing finish him. Finish him.
It was better than Austin Butler's impression.
Oh god.
I mean, you have to admit that film is better than Bohemian Rhapsody, at least. Give me that.
Uh,
At least give me that.
Okay,
I think it's a
It's
stone
a
cold
tough
masterpiece,
question.
but like
no,
at
actually,
least
no,
acknowledge
genuinely,
it.
what I will give you is there's a level of skill and craftsmanship in Elvis, because Baz Luhrmann is a very stylish director. But that's probably about all that he's good at. The editing and the colors are all great. Bohemian Rhapsody just shouldn't exist.
Bohemian Rhapsody is like made by a committee that doesn't know what to do because its director isn't like there, you know, and it's like, get this bit, you know, it's like totally Monday morning meeting movie, that bit.
Yeah.
Like,
It's really sad, because then if you see what Dexter Fletcher did with Rocket Man, he actually made an interesting, fun, like, biopic there.
yeah, I mean, the fact that it got made at all is like testament to like Dexter Fletcher being amazing.
Yeah.
Like, but the circumstances in which it was made, it was like that he made a 2-star movie is like a 5-star achievement, but it's still a 2-star movie. Elvis, though, is like pure, undiluted fucking Baz Luhrmann from the first shot, and everything's going like, what? You know, like I really admire its kind of audacity, and I think Austin Butler nailed it. It was like spirit possession. He was so good, I felt.
I'll agree to disagree, because as I said, we'll be here for days otherwise.
that's
In
true.
Kella, we have a bloodbath. We'll have a bloodbath.
the Elvis episode. Anyways, Joe, how are you?
I'm doing okay, actually. I've watched a couple of things. I've been playing a few things as well. Not really anything new, but I did get a chance to see the Dungeons & Dragons movie, Among Thieves. I'll be talking about that later. Almost finished Ash vs. Evil Dead, which I'm still really enjoying. I'll actually be quite sad when it's gone. And yeah, actually, no, I did rewatch yesterday. It's now a film firmly probably in my top 5 of all time, because I find myself rewatching it at least once a year. Her, by Spike Jonze.
Okay.
So I felt the mood take me yesterday. I was sitting there like with the rest of my Blu-rays, and I'm like, I should probably actually finally open that one, because that one was a gift from my friends. It's still in its plastic wrapping. Like, I should probably finally open it and put it on. I did, and I still love every second of that film. So
Have you seen how Van Hoytema shot some of the scenes as well, where he used filters and whatnot? He was very...
I haven't, but no spoilers, because I will watch the Blu-ray special features. So I'm sure I'll find
but
out.
do check them out, because it's really interesting to see like these established cinematographers go back to their roots and experiment with their craft, basically. So it's really interesting. How about you, Andrea?
Great.
Did you manage to catch something in Amsterdam?
Oh, I saw a lot of things in Amsterdam. I saw a lot of shows as well. Nothing I'll be talking about on this podcast, though.
I was gonna say hopefully not an STD. Sorry.
My friends are like, you should do a review about what we're seeing here. I'm like, but to be fair, in one particular show, I was so exhausted. Like, we spent like 4 days non-stop. I slept maybe 10 hours in 4 days, and in one particular show, I just fell asleep. I was so exhausted. It was the one time I sat down on a semi-comfortable chair, and I was like, I just fell asleep.
When you have what that chair has seen, bro.
Yeah,
Was it sticky?
Yeah, trouble getting up. Like,
felt a bit, a little tricky to get up. But I assumed that was the effects of something. But might have been something else, though. But yes, to be honest, obviously I haven't watched too much in the past week. I watched another episode of Lucky Hank, which is the Bob Odenkirk series about him being a college professor. I'm enjoying it. Bob Odenkirk obviously is absolutely brilliant in it. His performance is fantastic. And the supporting casts are actually quite decent as well.
We're looking up so in the meantime, let's tell our listeners to not forget to follow us on all of our social media, on Facebook, on Instagram, on TikTok. Leave us a comment, give us a like, share this podcast, and also tell your friends and the rest of your friends to watch this podcast and listen to this podcast on Spotify or on YouTube.
And for some reason, the name of the actress still hasn't come up on IMDb. Why isn't she in the front? Anyways, It's a good series. Lucky Hank, give it a look at. I mean, you're watching it pretty much just for Bob Odenkirk here, so he just gives a great performance. Apart from that, I watched an episode of The Mandalorian, latest episode of The Mandalorian, which was, I think, my favorite episode so far. Considering I didn't mind the first episode, but then I really hated like the direction they took, or the lack of direction they took, which was a big issue with the series. But I really liked the last episode. I thought the last episode was actually quite good compared to the rest. So that's The Mandalorian, and yeah, I watched Tetris, which we'll be reviewing later on. So that's pretty much my week. Bruce, anything in particular you've been watching recently?
Well, to review, because I had to review John Wick 4, so I've been like knee deep in Wick. Had to catch up with all of them because I had never seen John Wick. So when I had to go and review 4, I had to catch up with all of them. So I had a weekend of just pure John Wick, and
that explains a lot.
It is possible to have too much of a great thing.
Yes.
And yeah, so I saw a lot of Wick to get ready for John Wick 4. Then, what else have I been watching? I saw The French Dispatch, actually, yesterday, Wes Anderson. And then TV-wise, I'm not really a big TV guy. You know, if I'm going to watch something, I tend to watch a film. I don't really start new series. But I'm a big fan of British comedy, and my favorite TV show ever I was rewatching recently, Dark Place. Have you ever seen Dark Place? Garth Marenghi's
Garth Marenghi's Dark Place.
It's genius. It's genius. It's my favorite TV show ever, and sometimes when I just rewatch them, you know.
There's what's his name? Matt, the guy who's Toast of London. Matt Berry,
yeah,
Richard Ayoade as well.
Yeah, Matt Holness is Garth Marenghi. And it's just such a perfect kind of pastiche of sort of Stephen King type mini-series, you know.
Yeah, but it's like the author of the books who's also the director and the writer and producer of the series.
Have you? So you guys have seen this?
I've seen it.
No, I haven't.
If you like Toast of London, have you seen Toast of London?
I haven't. That's another Matt Berry one as well, no?
Yeah.
The only thing I've seen with Matt Berry was the What We Do in the Shadows TV series. I liked him a lot in that. So.
Is that good, Joe? Because I've been meaning to give it a chance for a really long time.
It is actually, but I mean, it is just kind of more of the film. But obviously with different cast members. But it is good. Like it's.
My sister started it, and I was like, it looks good. To be fair, a little bit I saw.
I still think you should start Barry and the White Lotus before it. Yes.
No, the White Lotus
True.
I have to watch with my girlfriend.
True.
But that takes a while. We're still watching what's it called? His Dark Materials. We have a couple more episodes to go. We watched a few episodes. It's really hard to find like an hour to watch something with my girlfriend, to be honest. We're so busy. And Franco, your week.
Hello. So I've watched Tetris as well, which is pretty good. We'll review it later on. And I'm continuing Andor. Most probably I'm going to continue to watch an episode after we finish the podcast. That speech, man. Luther's speech. Jesus.
Amazing.
Yeah. And I said, there's never going to be a series as good as Andor. Obviously, apart from
a Star Wars series.
A Star Wars series, exactly. Well, and here's to hoping that maybe Secret Invasion might match the energy. Who knows? I know. It's a wide swing. I know, Joe. I know.
It won't. It doesn't have Tony Gilroy behind it.
Secret Invasion is a series or?
It's a series. It's a series.
Okay.
Have you checked out Andor, Bruce?
No. To be fair, I'm not a massive Star Wars guy.
That's
okay. All right.
That's the thing.
I am told time and time again, Andor is like a breath of fresh air. It's like not a lot of.
It's not Star Wars.
Not a lot of like space battle-y stuff. It's like a stripped down. I don't know.
I think the last episode. This episode was with Andy Serkis doing his speech. I think it was one of the best episodes I've seen so far with the speeches and the Serkis performance. How he turns.
Fantastic, Andy Serkis.
He's incredible.
Oh my God! It's like how he turns from a vulnerable, almost toxic, toxic masculine guy to someone's like who's who's very sort of a good leader.
Yeah.
And it hurt a lot that he, even at the very last moment, no spoilers.
The ending, however,
Yeah.
broke me. Like emotionally, I was destroyed. I had to
Miskin.
stop.
Is Circus
I
like a
thought it was-
mocap thing, or is it like playing? Like
No.
No,
it's
mocap. You
Acting,
see
acting.
his face, or
Okay.
Luther, and his Luther, am I right?
Yeah.
Kino Royce and Lut, but the Stellan Skarsgård speech is just,
It's
what do I
ridiculous.
sacrifice? Everything I love.
Everything.
There's never been a moment like that in all of Star Wars.
No, that I can agree
Until
on. That
now.
I can agree on.
Goosebumps.
That's why I said I don't. I mean, Secret Invasion could probably be quite decent, but it's not going to be as good as Andor because it doesn't have the writer behind it. Tony Gilroy with this kind of stuff, these slow burn espionage pieces. There is no one in the modern day better than Tony Gilroy doing it. He's been doing it his whole career.
From the outside, because I'm not really a Star Wars guy, right? But from the outside, it seems like Kathleen Kennedy gets a lot of flack, right?
Yes.
But see, she
And
seems it to be doing a lot of good shit. So I don't really understand the fact.
Mm.
Because, I mean, Rogue
No.
One... No, am I wrong? I mean, in a way, like, Rogue One was one of the best reviewed Star Wars movies
No,
ever.
I love Rogue One. I love Rogue One. I
Mandalorian.
can.
That was under
Mandalorian
Kathleen
season 1 and
Kennedy.
2. I
Andor.
loved season 3. So and so.
I mean,
Kathleen
okay, there are
Kennedy stuff-
misses, but like overall, it's a pretty solid track record. And I'm not. I don't know. I don't.
It's the
see
movies.
that
I think the issues is with the movies, with the trilogy.
Yeah, the issue
With
is
the-
she messed up the trilogy because that was like her big pitch of we're going to bring Star Wars back and continue the Skywalker saga, and it did not do well. And it's like you said, like you mentioned these shows as well. I haven't seen anyone divert credit towards Kathleen Kennedy for Andor or The Mandalorian or any of that. The Mandalorian, the person who gets all the credit is Jon Favreau for creating it. Kathleen Kennedy gets nothing. For Andor, for the people that have watched it, all the credit is going towards Tony Gilroy.
But she's still
Andor,
commissioning this stuff, no?
Of course, yes, she's still the head at Lucasfilm. So.
and I feel Andor is severely underwatched because of Obi-Wan and Mandalorian and Boba Fett. It was
Yes.
Those three-
Boba
those two
Fett
were-
Boba Fett ruined Andor. It's a fact.
In a way, I feel Kathleen Kennedy. This might be an odd thing to say about president of Lucasfilm, but she can't catch a break. She cannot catch a break. You know,
I mean, she's
when
going to
they
be fired. She's
when
going to be
they
fired,
announced when Disney bought Star Wars, right, and they were like, we're gonna make new films. Everyone was like, don't bring back George Lucas. He fucked it up. Keep George Lucas away. And she was like, okay. And they're like, and fans were like, we want practical effects. We want to feel like the old films. We want it to feel like the old film. And she gave fans exactly what they wanted. Then the fans
And
were like,
still.
it's too much like the old films. It's too the same. And she was like, okay. And then it's like Last Jedi is like subverting expectations. Interesting director Ryan Johnson, not doing the things you expect. Surprising. And everyone's like, no, it's not what we expected. And it's like, and it's just like, fine, J.J. Abrams, come back, and just, what do you want? What do you want? And they're like, no, we want it. And then they put out then they make like the most committee-based, like trying to give the fans what they want
Disaster.
with Rise of Skywalker. Like, we
Shit.
don't want Rey to be a nobody. Like, spoilers. We don't want Rey to be a nobody. She has to be related to... And like, fine, Palpatine's granddaughter. You happy? And everyone's like, no. And it's like, I feel so bad for her, man. It's like she's
But Bruce-
trying to please people. She's really trying. But she's
I
like,
think
But Bruce,
so just Bruce made a great performance of all the fandoms that we have.
Yeah.
that's what it sounds like to me.
Yeah, and
No,
one of
no-
the worst is the Star Wars fandom.
But she's like a kind of a kindergarten substitute teacher who's trying to please the kids, but nothing that she's doing is
Yeah.
pleasing these kids.
but
It's like-
isn't that the signs of an incompetent leader? Because if you are a competent leader, you have a plan for a trilogy and you go with your plan. If you don't trust your gut and you don't go with what you believe in, well, that's a sign of an incompetent leader.
No, I do agree that she should have like stuck to her guns and not try to be a people pleaser, but I think people kind of misattribute what her weakness was to like her trying to force agendas and all this nonsense into the Star Wars, when really she was trying to please the people who
and maybe she was stuck between a rock and a hard place, because if the fans won't go and watch the movies, she has to deal with the shareholders.
Yeah.
Because everything is shareholders now. It's like how do I please the shareholders?
We're talking about Disney here, so
Yeah. And she's also working with one of the most beloved IPs in human existence. Like, you talk about the plan and stuff. If you look at like what Feige has done with the Marvel universe, he kind of had zero stakes when he went into that. Because okay, yes, they're based on beloved comic book characters, but they don't have the kind of legacy and pop culture influence at the time. They didn't at all that Star Wars had, because Star Wars was a phenomenon from day one. Everyone knows what Star Wars is. That people like things like Iron Man and Thor at the time were known by comic book nerds.
Okay.
You know, they were much more niche. They were you're dealing with a much bigger thing when you have Star Wars and you make these promises. I think she probably thought at the time having a different director for each movie would be like, look, see, we're trying to be like a bit more open, and they were trying different things and stuff. It just blew up in her face. I also think one of the dumbest decisions they made is giving the first film to the safest director on earth, J.J. Abrams.
That's when you need to be creative.
Yeah.
And set the tone.
And he
Because the
basically
first movie
made
sets the tone.
a new Hope 2 Electric Boogaloo.
But can I ask, like, how do you stand on the originals, the sequels, and the prequels? Or like, which one? How do they rank?
So, Ara,
Because
Joe,
to me,
go
the
ahead.
prequel. Sorry, go ahead.
Originals are pretty untouchable. Probably in like a ranking system, you definitely go Empire Strikes Back is the best one, followed by A New Hope, followed by Return of the Jedi. Return of the Jedi being definitely the weakest of the three, but still a very solid movie. The prequels are something, it's really funny, where when they first came out, I was obviously a kid. I loved them. I loved every single one of them. Then I got older, I got a bit more opinionated, I got a bit more toxic as well at the time. And there was a time where I hated them. I absolutely despised them, apart from episode 3. I thought that was just okay. And now, looking back, just because I've realized I'm getting older and life is too short to hold on to hate. I still think episode 3 is the most solid out of the three of them. I think it's actually a pretty damn good film and a really good like kind of springboard to the originals. And I love the meme potential in episode 1 and episode 2. I was addicted to prequel memes on Reddit for a big while.
Same. Same.
And the sequels, here's my hot take: The Last Jedi is the best of the three of them. But that's it. That's me as a die-hard Star Wars fan.
That's not saying much, though, to be fair.
It's not. No.
Andrea disagrees, but I
Franco.
think no, it's the same as Joe. As far as I haven't seen Rise of Skywalker because there was so much. See, exactly. That's my point. Exactly, right there.
Guys, we're forgetting the holiday special.
I mean, that's like untouchable, you know. It's like,
Which, in its own right, is a work of art.
yeah, exactly. You can't even compare things to it.
Bruce, you're going to rank them.
Well, I would say that I think my favorite is A New Hope, just because I like the kind of just like this. There was this young guy called George Lucas, you know, and he came up with this fucking thing by himself. You know what I mean? It has this real freshness to it, and this kind of, even though it's a little bit scrappy, I like the scrappiness. You know what I mean? It has this kind of optimism of youth about it. Then yeah, I mean, I think Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi are both good. I mean, the fact that they have Harrison Ford is like, to me, a massive boon. Like, but I think that Force Awakens and Last Jedi are leagues better than the prequels. I think the prequels are objectively bad movies. They're badly written, badly directed, way too much CGI. I mean, but I would put Rise of Skywalker below the prequels, because as bad as the prequels are in terms of everything about them, I think is really like subpar, I think. But they are fascinating in a way that Rise of Skywalker is just terribly tedious.
So boring, man. So fucking boring.
The prequels were literally a man funding these massive blockbusters on his own dime, surrounded by and he had no one to tell him no. All right, he was
going through a brutal divorce.
Yeah, so you are looking, when you watch those films, as kind of rubbish as they are, you are seeing into a man's brain. It's like a fascinating kind of thing. You are looking into a psyche of like, that is exactly what he wanted on the screen. And There's something to be said for that. I prefer a rubbish auteur's vision than like an okay committee film.
I mean, that's the funny thing that you mentioned about A New Hope being your favorite one, because if you look into the history of A New Hope, despite it, yes, it is the brainchild of George Lucas, and we owe him a lot of credit for creating the world of Star Wars. The main story about A New Hope is how many people had to stop George Lucas from ruining that film. Like, dialogue that he wanted in it, like even Mark Hamill going like, George, no one talks like this. Like,
Thing is, George Lucas, man, he's like a genius, but kind of in his place, I think.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, as a storyteller, he is incredible. Like, that's why the Indiana Jones films are incredible, because you marry the storytelling of George Lucas with then like Spielberg is an amazing director, you know. And then when he was just kind of left to his own devices, it's like not as good.
He's too creative for his own good, I think.
I was gonna say, I think the perfect marriage for Star Wars would be George Lucas and James Cameron.
Oh, bitch. That's too much. I think that's too much.
Egos, man.
I think that would be too much, Franco.
That would probably
we can't deal with that movie.
But
Can you imagine how it would look, though?
There'd be such an explosion of ego, like Christopher Nolan will make a movie about it.
I felt you coming in your pants from here, guys.
But it would take like 25 years to make. Like, they'd both be dead before it releases.
True.
And by the way, guys, so that we can continue, I wanted to point out, I just found out, do you know the Spanish director Alex de la Iglesia?
No.
Oh, guys, you have to check, Mela. I'm gonna make some good recommendations. If you like dark humor, black humor, you have to watch Day of the Beast. There's Witching and Bitching. These are like almost horror comedies. And there's one which is very, I would say, as far as uncomfortable feeling, it's almost Ari Aster-esque. Before Ari Aster, it's called Illahwa. So just a second. I'm checking the movie because it's about clowns, and it's a very dark fairy tale, so to speak. But I found out that he has a series called 30 Coins. A horror series called 30 Coins. The other movie is called The Last Circus. Like two clowns fighting against each other for the love of a woman. It was a very heavy movie, but at the same time, how dark it is. And it's based during my eponymous Franco's dictatorship as well. So it's a great solid background. And 30 Coins.
Need to look this up.
I like how this podcast became like a Star Wars podcast for about 30 minutes.
True. Shall we conclude it?
I looked up, then I wrote Enrique Iglesias instead. Sorry, what was his name?
Alex de la Iglesia.
So, to conclude our discussion, here's my ultimate list. Number one.
We don't care, Andrea.
Of course you do. And in my opinion, one of the best movies of all time is Episode 5, Empire Strikes Back. That's, in my opinion, one of the best movies ever made. Number 2 is the original Star Wars, 1977. Number 3, and this is going to be a bit of a hot take, I'll put Revenge of the Sith.
Get the
number
fuck
3.
out. No way. Like I like Revenge of the Sith, but get the fuck out. It's not better than Return of the Jedi.
Number 4, Return of the Jedi. Number 5, Rogue One.
Rogue One doesn't count. It's not Skywalker Saga.
We're talking just Skywalker Saga. Okay, so skip Rogue One. And number 5, oh shit. And number 5, what do I put in number 5? I guess then I go with, no. Force Awakens. Force Awakens is number 5. Then number 6, I'll put Attack of the Clones. Number 7, Phantom Menace. Number 8, Last Jedi, and number 9, Rise of Skywalker.
Wait, you put Attack of the
Phantom
Clones
Menace
above The Last
better
Jedi?
than Last Jedi.
If you had to ask me which I would prefer to watch.
Phantom Menace is
100%.
better than Last Jedi.
I cannot watch The Last Jedi ever again. Or else
Why?
the emotions it will generate in me.
It's a smartly made
Would be too
piece
much.
of cinema, I think.
It's a guy trying something different with a beloved IP and actually taking risks. It is even I love Empire in terms of like its themes and its ideas. It is the most interesting Star Wars has ever been.
Plus, I don't really
found
understand the
boring.
controversy of like Luke Skywalker. Sorry to drag this back into but Luke Skywalker throwing his lightsaber away when Rey hands it, and everyone's freaking out. Like, look, whenever. Do you want the drama to be like Luke said, like Luke gets his lightsaber? Okay, I'll come. And there has to be drama.
No,
man.
but
Like,
there's
what
a
is
big
the
there's a
drama?
big
Like,
jump between throwing the lightsaber away and being okay, yes, let's do this. I mean,
Yeah, but it's also
throwing the
that's-
lightsaber away was
But that's the point.
completely
He's given up.
completely out of character.
Yeah, but that's
Completely
Dramatic.
No,
That is the
100%
dramatic curve.
out
There
of
has to be a
character.
dramatic curve.
He's been exiled for 25
And there was no
years.
dramatic curve because he didn't actually fight.
Yes,
he
he
just
did.
force
Yes,
projected.
he did.
And then died on his own.
He did the
like
most.
a loner.
You force project,
sacrificed
Andrea.
himself.
You
Like,
try to force project.
He sacrificed
Last
himself
Jedi,
like
you
Ben
fucking know.
Kenobi.
Exactly.
Look, Ben
And he
Kenobi did the
dies-
exact same thing. And
he
like,
dies looking out at the twin suns as we first met him on Tatooine. It is fucking beautiful and
Like,
poetic.
there's
If
that
you wanted a
infamous.
fucking Luke Skywalker that just took the lightsaber, I was like, yes, I'm a fucking hero. No, he's been exiled for like 15 years
Yeah.
and fucking hates himself and his religion. He's not going to pick up a lightsaber again.
Exactly. Plus,
Sorry,
it's like,
I'm
there's that
guilty.
infamous
But
thing
he
of like
wouldn't
George
throw
Lucas
it
saying
away.
like
He wouldn't throw it away. He would never
George
throw it away.
Lucas.
Yes, he would.
George Lucas in that infamous documentary is like, oh, it's like poetry, and everything is gonna
Yeah.
rhyme, It does. It rhymes with
Yes.
Empire Strikes Back. He's like Yoda. He's living in the swamps by his own as a recluse. He's like Ben Kenobi, living as a kind of a hermit in Tatooine. Like the Luke Skywalker character is doing what these mentor characters do.
The
in
Jedi,
these kind
the
of
Jedi.
stories.
No, but
Yeah.
Yoda never threw away. Oh, yeah.
Yoda,
No, I
Yoda literally burns the sacred texts.
I don't know. It's just
but
he's
I
so
think
out of character. So
No.
completely out of
No.
character.
It's the
when I
natural
saw
progression
it-
of order.
When I saw it, no, I disagree completely. When I saw it, I just
Wait,
was like,
I'm
what?
going to pitch this to you, okay?
fuck
So the last
is
time,
going on?
the last time Luke Skywalker saw that lightsaber, he had his hand cut off forever, and was told that the person he hated the most, who was responsible for his uncle and aunt's death, was actually his father. In the meantime, he goes and fights many wars in that time, eventually fighting his father, not killing him, overthrowing an empire, and then reconciling with his father, who then dies. He then starts a new Jedi Order and has a nephew who he brings into it, and then he sees a dark side in his nephew, which he thought he'd never see again, because he thought he got rid of the dark side with his father actually being turned.
And tries to kill him.
And in a moment of panic, thought about killing him because of the fear of the dark side coming back. Do you think then, as soon as he sees that lightsaber, he's going to be like, "Ah, thanks, I wonder where I lost this"?
There's the big issue of him also trying to kill his nephew, which is fucking ridiculous. He
Because
would never do that.
But
Is
you're
Luke,
putting-
is Luke Skywalker a human or is he an alien?
No,
Guys,
but
can
even I wouldn't try to kill him.
Look,
Guy,
let alone-
Andrea, you might have story disagreements on The Last Jedi, right? That are very valid and they can be discussed. But you're putting that below Phantom Menace with its
Yeah,
fucking
that's what I can't get
tax
over.
trade route bullshit and it's
Money,
and
talking
it's
about tax trade
Anakin's
routes.
and Anakin yippieing and fucking
Let's
Jar
talk
Jar
about
Binks.
the whole shitty casino part of the movie. That was so dog shit. That was horrible.
I mean, can we
That
talk
was
about
horrible.
how? Can we talk about
That's
how racist
literally
the Phantom Menace
Casablanca
is?
compared to most of Phantom Menace. That's literally
The Phantom Menace is also extremely racist.
guys,
The heads of the trade union.
But
trade
guys,
union
I had
are
to, we have to
definitely
get back on
Chinese.
topic, guys. We have like 16 news items today.
and I know what the title of this episode will be: a Star Wars bloodbath. Actually, just bloodbath. Ashmanov, Joe literally pile drived you. Also, listeners,
He hit
what-
me with the not my Luke Skywalker argument, which is bullshit.
also
No, it's I have a very strong opinion about this.
to our listeners and viewers, if you also have a strong opinion about this, make sure to
let
leave
us
a
know.
comment.
Let us know in the comment
Star
section
Wars fans never have strong opinions about that.
No.
below. No.
Alright.
They
But
have
that's why I
four.
can't watch Last Jedi ever again. It generates so much anger in me that I don't feel that, to be honest with you. But anyways, so guys, our podcast. Let's get back on track. So we're going to split up our podcast into two parts. We're going to start off first with the news. This week we've got a lot of news. Like literally the past 2 days have been non-stop chock-a-block news on movies and series. We've got a bunch of trailers we're going to be talking about. After that, we'll get into a couple of reviews. We got a review for Tetris, and Joe will be giving us his review for Dungeons and Dragons. So guys, let's start off with the news. And unfortunately, we'll have to start off with very sad news, as this past week we heard about the unfortunate death of Ryuichi Sakamoto, who is obviously the Oscar-winning composer of The Last Emperor, who died at the age of 71. Recipient of a BAFTA, Grammy, and 2 Golden Globes. He died, like I said, at the age of 71, and we found out on his official Twitter account announcing his passing on April 2nd. Guys, many of you, I'm sure, have watched The Last Emperor. You've watched some other of his movies. Bruce, let me start off with you. Any thoughts?
Well, I have to say I was incredibly ignorant about Ryuichi Sakamoto until I heard about this news. I hadn't really known his name. I wasn't very familiar with his work. I started listening to some of his soundtracks. The Merry Christmas, Mr. Lawrence one, was very familiar to me. I had heard it before, and it's a very beautiful soundtrack. He also did a track for Babel, which I really like. But yeah, I need to dig into more of his work, more of his back catalogue, because I really feel I missed out on this one.
Franco.
Merry Christmas, Mr. Lawrence. There's an interesting story behind it, because before we started recording the podcast, I remember listening to this song when I was much younger, very many moons ago, called Heart of Asia. And if you listen to the motif in this song, this is a Euro trance song, and the motif was taken from Merry Christmas, Mr. Lawrence. And then when I finally put the song into its context, and I saw how it was portrayed into the movie, I was like, oh my god, they did this song dirty, because it's such a beautiful moment. And I think it's by Nagase Oshima, Merry Christmas, Mr. Lawrence, if I'm not mistaken.
I think so.
We're checking the Merry Christmas, Mr. Lawrence by who it is. Merry Christmas, Mr. Lawrence. There's also the Korea connection. It's Nagase Oshima. Yes, the director of, The Korea connection is that one of the first live broadcast rehearsals of an orchestra rehearsal was done in Seoul. An online live rehearsal where people from all over the world could join for free to watch Ryuichi Sakamoto rehearse with his orchestra. And the other one was that he worked with a video artist called Baek Nam-jun back in the 80s. And you can see the work because before he passed away, they actually released an album full of remixes of Ryuichi Sakamoto's song. And there's the remix of Merry Christmas, Mr. Lawrence by Electric Youth, if I'm not mistaken. Just let me confirm quickly here. I'm checking. Merry Christmas, Mr. Lawrence, Electric Youth. Yeah, that's it. It's the Electric Youth Remodel. That's what it's called.
All right.
He was also one of the pioneers of electronica, together with, I would say, with the Kraftwerk as well, being part of the Yellow Magic Orchestra as well. These are giants of the electronic music back in the 80s and late 70s as well.
Joe, your thoughts?
The only works I'm really familiar with would be Merry Christmas, Mr. Lawrence, but also The Revenant as well, which is a very, very good soundtrack. I say it every time we get news like this. Sad when anyone dies, so just condolences to everyone close to him, and we definitely lost one of the greats in his line of work.
Definitely. I I think The Revenant is the last thing I've heard of his, to be honest, and that had a fantastic soundtrack. So rest in peace.
Because I was looking him up a bit. I saw that he did an episode of Black Mirror, actually.
True.
The one with Andrew
He
Scott.
did?
Smithereens.
Oh, wow, okay.
That was Smithereens, right? Where he's
Yeah, I
like an
think
Uber
so, yeah.
driver or something. I mean, I don't remember the music, but that was an amazing episode.
Now you mentioned Black
miss
Mirror.
Black Mirror now. It hasn't been.
Yeah,
hasn't
same
come around
thing.
for a
I
while.
really miss Black Mirror.
Guys, what are you missing? We live in it.
That's true. That's very true.
Yeah.
True. Anyways, all right, guys. So that is the Ryuichi Sakamoto news. Moving on, we got the trailer. Franco. We got the trailer for Wes Anderson's Asteroid City and the whole massive cast that this movie is going to have. I know Franco has thoughts. Shall we start off with the positive thoughts? Bruce's?
I'm all on board for Asteroid City. I have a lot of time for Wes Anderson, and I kind of admire that how far his style has gone, to the point where now it's kind of like he's kind of like a modern artist. I think he's kind of like David Hockney or Picasso, where you see their work and it's just so distinctively them, that I kind of admire that a filmmaker can have that much of a signature over the look of their film, you know. So I'm all on board. I want it to be as Wes Anderson can be, you know. And I'm sure I'm excited about this movie. I'm very excited.
Franco?
Let me also start with the positive. I think the cast is eclectic. Jason Schwartzman, Tom Hanks, Bryan Cranston, Steve Carell, Margot Robbie. You see that there's a lots of...
Scarlett Johansson, please.
Yeah, Scarlett Johansson, sorry.
Please.
Sorry, okay, we have a simp over here. Scarjo simp. Now, to the bad. I think I'm falling...
What bad?
No, because I'm falling deep out of love with Wes Anderson. I liked French Dispatch. Most probably, I'm also seeing it through rose-colored glasses, because it was the first. French Dispatch was the first Wes Anderson movie I saw in a cinema, and it was also back in Korea, and it looked beautiful. I have to admit, it looked beautiful. But I feel Wes Anderson is becoming too much of a one-trick pony. We're now aware of how his compositions are going to be. I'm gonna call it from now on. This color grading will be very tiring on the eyes. And now I'm going to be honest. I tried to watch the trailer again to get attuned to the color grading. I'm sorry, it looks. I called it vomit pastel. I think it's. I think it's. Listen, I know I'm being harsh. I'm trash talking. And actually, I should have started with this one. I would have liked to. I would actually welcome Wes Anderson and ask him why does he insist on this style. It's frustrating for me, for an artist, because I maybe because if I, as an artist, I don't want to get stuck into one track. Okay, I would have my signature, but then I know that I have to move on, and I don't feel Wes Anderson is moving on. So I'm seeing just different reconfigurations and nothing new. I'm already compared this with Boys Afraid with Ari Aster, because Ari Aster, this is an Ari Aster movie by the sense of dread that you feel, but at the same time he's trying to do something new.
But Ari Aster is only like 3 movies or 4 movies in with Boys Afraid. I mean, like Wes Anderson started with Bottle Rocket, which looks nothing like, you know what I mean? Exactly. Like give Ari Aster more time to come into his own style, because maybe he'll develop a style that's as unique and kind of consistent as Wes Anderson's, but he's still starting out.
Okay, so maybe shall we mention Robert Rodriguez? Shall we mention Greta Gerwig?
No, there are filmmakers who are eclectic. Peter Weir, he'll make very different movies.
Thriller.
But some filmmakers like, David Lynch or whoever, they have a very particular signature style,
Okay, David Lynch though. David Lynch also went and tried to do Dune, David Lynch also, like, when you see Eraserhead and Blue Velvet, You know it's by David Lynch. They have the same themes. They have not themes. Sorry, they have the same stylistic things, but the themes are completely different. You can understand that they're very distinct movies. I think from a certain point, Wes Anderson fell into a one-trick pony sort of modus operandi. I noticed it from Grand Budapest Hotel, and I'm like, Lallo, man, this movie is so superficial.
No way.
I mean, would you tell Edward?
No.
Would you tell Edward Hopper?
Said, no way, says the guy who hates Last Jedi.
I mean, would you tell like an artist like Edward Hopper, you know, who did like the Nighthawks painting, like enough painting like lonely people in like American landscape? You know what I mean? It's like that's his thing, though. He's an artist, and that is his thing.
But he's a painter, and there are more painters than there are filmmakers, I would say.
Go ahead.
No, go for it. Actually,
look, you mentioned French Dispatch, and to be honest, that is like one of the Wes Andersons that didn't work for me, and that kind of makes me a little bit worried about Asteroid City, because French Dispatch felt like an empty chocolate box. Yeah, it was just surface, but it was too meandering, it was too all over the place to have anything to sink your teeth into, and I kind of miss the human heart that Rushmore and Tenenbaums had.
Same.
Yeah, but I still really enjoyed things like Isle of Dogs and Grand Budapest Hotel and whatever. But these films still had something of an emotional heart to connect to. French Dispatch was the one where I was like, this is all visual, this is all surface, there's lots of tricks going on, lots of experiment, but like there's nothing, it's very hollow to me for some reason.
That feeling was for Grand Budapest for me. That same feeling.
Okay.
Like exactly like you said, it's like an empty, what did you say? An empty chocolate box?
An empty chocolate box.
So that was the feeling I had with Grand Budapest. French Dispatch. Again, I'm calling myself out, like I said. Maybe the experience of watching it in a movie theater, the first Wes Anderson in a movie theater, made a bit of a difference. But still, plus the French Dispatch, at least, for example, he went to try animation, and he also just a little, quite a lot of inspiration from the French New Wave, especially with the episode where he's with Timothée Chalamet in it.
French Dispatch to me felt like he went into an office and he said, okay, I'm going to make a movie about France. Now let me connect all the things that are French. And it's like Tintin style animation, French New Wave, Student Revolution. And it was just like making this kind of like thought web thing, you know, with all these like sticky notes of like things that are French that he wants to try. But there was nothing like solid in the story. It was just pure Wes Anderson frill with like nothing.
And that's the thing with Asteroid City. It looks like pure Wes Anderson frill, and it's now no longer filmmaking. It's a commodity. Like you're having a Gucci, basically.
I think it's too early to tell because I really don't know what the hell this movie is about. You know?
It looks like to me like he's trying to. It's like Wes Anderson doing Spielberg. Like,
that's very true.
I get major like Close Encounters vibes.
But
you know what it's like? It's like if you went onto like a Mid-Journey AI art thing and wrote Close Encounters in the style of Wes Anderson. Like that's what you'd get, kind of thing.
Yeah. But we're speaking of Spielberg. Okay, but Spielberg, we've seen an arc. He started from Close Encounters of the Third Kind. He did fucking Ready Player One, and even recently The Fabelmans. You see this. We know that it's a Spielberg movie, but see the variety of movies that he's done. Wes Anderson, it's always quirky. Even the joke fell flat. Oh, because your mother was Episcopalian and I don't believe in God. Lala.
Yeah.
It's.
I kind of I have trepidations that it's gonna be just the Wes Anderson thing, but I will always go and see a Wes Anderson film like as soon as I can. So I'm excited, but I understand your trepidations But it's the French Dispatch to me that I'm worried about, not Grand Budapest.
Yeah.
No, I saw it from the Grand Budapest because I'd concede to you that even the French Dispatch had those. The key word here is affectations, and I'm not gonna continue on it because we need to. There's so much more to.
Definitely. All right, guys. So that is Asteroid City. Let's move on to the next trailer. To be honest, I don't have much to talk about this trailer. It's the trailer for Ben Affleck's Hypnotic. To be honest with you, all I had to say about this was, as a plot, it sounds fascinating, right? We've got bank heists and whatnot. There's one thing I noticed about the trailer, though, as I was watching the trailer: the color tone. I hate the color tone. I hate when they give this like orangish, brownish
So it's
color
extremely
tone.
yellow.
Oh, I can't stand it. I really hate whenever I see this in movies.
Extra.
Franco,
I don't mind it.
just
don't
something
mind
about the color that maybe it's my monitor, but
Or maybe
looks off really bad on my monitor.
maybe
I have a decent monitor.
maybe it was filmed in Mexico. You know, have you ever seen that meme?
That's, to be honest, that's what it reminds me of. Like the meme of Mexico, like shot in America, and everything's like bright colors, and then Mexico is like orange.
And it's
but
good.
The story, yeah, Franco.
It's good to see William Fichtner again. Fichtner? Well, I forgot what's his surname.
Fichtner, I believe.
Fichtner, how do you say it?
Fichtner.
Fichtner. But as a storyline, I really like Ben Affleck, by the way. I don't know about you guys. I'm a big Ben Affleck fan. And I think I was one of the few people who was celebrating when he was cast as Batman. And I really respect his take on Batman, despite the movies being of, let's say, questionable quality. But I really like Ben Affleck, so I'll watch anything with him in it. Franco, your thoughts?
I was surprised that this is actually a Robert Rodriguez movie. So usually Robert Rodriguez goes for the what can I do with the minimum amount of budget. I'm heavily influenced by his book Rebel Without a Crew, which is the story about him making the first mariachi movie. If you remember Desperado, guys, and Desperado Once Upon a Time in Mexico. I've yet to watch Mariachi, and Bruce is correct. It's an amazing book, very inspirational, and it's interesting to see from Spy Kids and Planet Terror to go for him to go into something much more mainstream, so to speak.
Guys, can I ask you a question? What are your thoughts on Sin City? Really quickly, Bruce. Did you like it?
I liked it a lot, yeah. I haven't seen the sequel, but I liked the first one a lot.
No, I haven't seen the sequel either. I loved Sin City.
You can avoid the sequel because the sequel is just more of the same and not as it's not as gritty and punchy as the first one. They try to capitalize. They try to beat a dead horse, basically.
And very experimental. Sorry.
Sorry, Bruce.
The graphic novel is better. That's what I don't really like Robert Rodriguez. I think he's a good stylist, but he's an extremely amateur storyteller. And I have a chip on my shoulder with him and what he did to Boba Fett. So.
Shit! True, I forgot he did Boba Fett.
If we're talking about him going mainstream, can we talk about the fact that he did fucking Alita Battle Angel?
With James Cameron.
I mean, Cameron was producer and he used his VFX, but that movie was a steaming pile of shit.
Yeah.
You know, I never actually watched. Did I watch Alita Battle Angel?
I haven't watched
it. Cinema.
It wasn't good. They set it up for a sequel and it bombed, and we're never going to see the sequel.
Yeah.
I remember there was a big controversy with Alita Battle Angel, and there was another movie,
Ghost in the Shell.
No. Oh no, I know what there was. There was Captain Marvel, and a lot of online trolls were like, "Go watch Alita Battle Angel and not Captain Marvel." Captain Marvel made $1 billion, and like Alita Battle Angel completely
made like 10.
Flopped.
I don't understand how they pick these things in advance before these two movies come out. Like, why did they suddenly take one camp over the other? It doesn't make sense to me.
No, but the Captain Marvel thing was all behind the actress.
Because you know, actually, Brie Larson, she's a bit of a, you know.
Yeah, she made herself unpopular with some very toxic men.
I mean,
sad.
let's be honest. She doesn't look like the nicest of persons in interviews. I'm just gonna say that.
I think she's probably okay, but she does seem a little bit on the nose, for lack of a better term.
There's that famous interview, do you remember, guys, where she's reading like Brie Larson, and then she reads the Google searches, and there was one. Oh man,
Those are always brutal.
But
But even
okay,
her reactions felt. Oh, okay, this is not the kind of person I want to be friends with.
guys, Amber Heard or Brie Larson?
Oh, Jesus. That's
At least Brie
Brie
Larson is
Larson,
actually a
easy. I mean, come
good
on.
actress.
I was
She's actually a
gonna say
talented
easy.
actress.
Easy.
Amber Heard is like, what are you? How did you become an
You
actress?
just asked me, would I rather be slapped in the face or would I rather eat shit? Like, I'm obviously going to take the slap in the face.
I like Brie Larson. I mean, she was
She's a good
I
actress.
haven't seen her in that much, but I really liked her in Scott Pilgrim. She was really cool in that.
Yeah,
I love
she's a good actress.
She's a good actress. Room,
She is,
she
she
was
is.
in Room as
Yeah,
I've
well.
not seen
Room.
Room. Yeah.
And there was also what's its name? 13. This movie.
I know
With-
what you're talking about.
We're checking, guys. We're checking,
yes.
guys.
What,
Oh my
13?
god.
13
In-
something?
Yeah, something
Yeah.
13.
Going
Oh
on
my
13?
God.
No, 13.
No. It's about she's like a counselor at like a home for like troubled teenagers. Oh my god.
I haven't watched this.
Then she was in another film with the director where she was like in a court case or something.
She was in 21 Jump Street as well. Ara. Just
No, wait.
Mercy.
Wasn't it something 12? Short term 12. That's it.
Short Term 12. Yes.
Got it. Got there in the
And
end.
and
-1.
Short Term 12. Short Term 12. There are quite the much of the members of the cast are now like famous movie stars.
Yes,
as well.
yes.
All right. So those are our thoughts on Hypnotic. I'm gonna be honest. I don't have a lot of thoughts. It looks good, and I like Ben Affleck, and I generally like Robert Rodriguez, apart from fucking Boba Fett. Now, you made me notice I actually hate Robert Rodriguez. I forgot about that.
I
Side by
find
completely. side.
Robert Rodriguez is one of those guys. There are some directors I really like listening to, and then their movies I'm not that keen on. You know what I mean? Like Terry Gilliam is the same way. Like I love listening to Terry Gilliam, but like his movies are just not for me. Like
As Brazil. As Brazil.
Brazil, I haven't watched in ages.
Well, Brazil was a very good. It's very practical. It's a great satire on bureaucracy as well.
Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas, masterpiece. Loved it. Brilliant. But his other stuff is more Baron Munchausen's and Imaginariums. They get exhausting for me.
Imaginarium maybe, but Baron Munchausen, it's one of my favorite childhood movies.
Yes, yeah.
And Uma Thurman made me feel things as well. The Venus sequence.
All right.
I used to be
Guys.
afraid of. Sorry, Andrea, go
To
for it.
talk about something that did not or made me feel things, but quite negative things, was the trailer for Blue Beetle. Franco, you wanted to talk about... sorry, Joe. Sorry, Joe and Bruce want to talk about this. Sorry, Franco.
No worries, no worries.
Cut. Joe, your thoughts? True.
And I say this as someone who actually kind of knows who Blue Beetle is. Why are we? Who asked for a Blue Beetle movie? He's really like not that well known, even in like the DC comic sphere. Like you'll find a lot of people like okay, everyone knows who Batman is, everyone knows who Wonder Woman is, everyone knows who Superman is, Aquaman at a push now. You tell people Blue Beetle, they go, what's that? Kind of thing. It's a guy taken over by like, as we're seeing in the trailer, quite literally taken over by an animatronic beetle, and then he gets the suit and the powers and whatnot. But DC's in a really weird place at the moment, obviously, with the takeover. I don't know if this one's meant to be Snyderverse related or not. I don't know if it's meant to be connected to the CW verse that they have going on as well. It seems to fit more into the CW verse because this looks like a bad television like series.
Yep.
That's the
That's
thing,
what I think.
It's like, to me, when I watched it, I was like, is this an actual DC film? Because it looks, I don't know if my eyes are just jaded now, but it looks so cheap, man. It looks like like a Malaysian version of like Black Panther. You know what I mean? Like you get the sort of like video quickie, you know, like knocked out of. There was like you remember the Asylum? They would make like very quick, cheap remake Sisu of like proper. It looks like that kind of version of a superhero film to me, like really poor CGI.
The color scheme looks like a Shazam color scheme, quite high colors, very saturated colors, and it's meant to be like a Latino family movie. No,
Yes.
obviously.
Yes.
Yes.
Latinx family movie. That's it.
Yeah, but like it's just, unfortunately just doesn't look very good. It's unfortunately probably going to suffer
Bomb.
probably a worse fate than Shazam has.
Yeah.
When
And Shazam.
no one has asked for this, and probably no one will.
Oh
go
my
see
god!
it.
Oh wait! Hold that shot. Go back a bit. Now I'm notice it.
How bad the sword looked.
It's like
Lalas.
Power
Oh
Rangers,
my
man.
god! Oh my god!
Looks bad, right?
Look at the background.
Yeah.
What?
It's
Oh
some
my god! What the fuck is that background?
Why? What's?
Illallo.
It looks
It's like when they first made PS2 games.
Yeah. But
It's something.
This is the thing. Like, look at this shit, man. Look at this crap. You know what I mean? It's like I've reached the breaking point of this kind of stuff. You know what I mean? It's just CG soup, man, and it's like low quality CG soup. So
Is it?
But to be fair onto VFX artists, because we really make it a point to mention that VFX artists are fucking overworked
of course,
to
yeah,
the bone, Palissa.
of course.
I mean, I'm not. This is definitely, just to make it absolutely clear, this is not the fault of the VFX artists.
No.
This is the fault of the people who call the shots. I mean, do you think this is quality of VFX artistry? It's not the artists that put the show down. The people who call the shots put their work down. Yeah.
Yeah. When you
I mean,
churn
this
out
looks like
so
something
much,
from
you know,
a
quality's
kid
too-
bash. The quality is, yeah. You're saying, Bruce.
When you have to churn out so much, you know what I mean, and such short deadlines. I mean, we've all heard like the horror stories of like VFX artists working at Marvel, you know what I mean, and it's like you feel bad, you know, because it's like they're working just endless hours, and it's just, you're stretched thin, you know, you're just too stretched thin.
And laziness. I'm sorry, but I noticed recently to all this like hype talk about AI and blah blah blah. It's all about fucking laziness. I mean, what would have cost for you to go to a fucking warehouse?
True. Well, why can't they do that? I really don't get this fixation with just everything has to be CGI, and then you're overworking them. Because imagine if this scene was just shot in, like you said, Franco, on location. That's all you would have to add then is the sword effect, which fucking looks horrible.
Guys,
by the way,
listen, oh my god, Madonna, that is set.
It's like Power Rangers, man. Like it's like.
Power Rangers was actually practical.
I mean,
and they
yeah,
had,
but I'm like
technological constraints at the time.
some kind of CG remake. I haven't seen the new Power Rangers movie, but like this is what I imagine it would look like, kind of thing.
Oh, yeah. Guys, I will suggest you to watch Studio Binder's making of the Terminator 2. And you'll see a whole lot of difference. They actually went to a smelting warehouse, and James Cameron made it operational again for the purpose of shooting that last scene in Terminator 2.
Yeah.
I mean, you see, there's a commitment. It's again, what do you call him, Joe? James,
Well,
Captain Jim?
No, Big Jim, the greatest
Big
pioneer.
Jim.
Big Jim.
I mean, say what you want about him. He's only doing the Avatar films because now he has this technology and he's obsessed with it and he's pushing it further. And fair play to him. Avatar: The Way of Water is one of the best looking CG fests I've ever seen in my life.
True.
So there's that. But then, as you say, Franco, he's someone, when it comes down to it, if his vision can be done practically, he's going to do it practically. He's always been that way.
That's one thing. No, for sure.
Currently, his vision cannot be done practically.
But here's another thing, Joe, and I'm gonna point out to remember to the fact of the what's her name, the woman king. No. What's the name of that? Madoff. Queen. Oh. You mentioned this, that you didn't like the movie. It was very well. It was the critics gave it 95. We went to watch it and it's like it didn't do anything. Woman King.
The Woman King. Yes, the Woman King.
The Woman King. I think this will be like for the Latinx community. Oh, finally we have a Latinx superhero. So that might go down well with the Latinx community.
I'm going to be honest though, Frank, on this point. Sorry, Bruce. Okay. Just going to make this point and I'll let you go. On this point, I do get the feeling that this is just DC putting a big very good next to like
virtue signaling.
We need a movie that brings in the Latinx community. Make a movie about Blue Beetle. That's I hate being that guy, but this movie feels so cheap and so unnecessary. That's the vibes I get from it. Bruce, you wanted to say?
Yeah, sometimes I feel like these kind of like when they have films that feature kind of inclusive things, like, you know, it's a Latin character or whatever, or an African American character, sometimes it feels like lazy justification for a hackneyed piece of work. For example, I saw a news article of like Ryan Coogler is thinking of like remaking the X-Files with a more inclusive cast. And it's just like, that's the laziest idea, and you just like stuck on this kind of like inclusivity thing in an attempt to justify the existence of something that really doesn't need to exist, you know, another fucking remake. And it's just like, you can't kind of just like hide behind this inclusivity, you know, thing. I actually sorry, go ahead.
No, I actually made this point when, again, with The Woman King. Like, The Woman King, why wasn't it directed by an actual African director? Why did it have to be an African American director?
Because they're not brave enough. They're just not brave enough.
They're not brave
enough.
They
will virtue signal.
It's not. They're not allowed into their Hollywood clique as well. Like, I can't name an actual African director who has worked in Hollywood, and it's hard to get into that. But then Africa does have somewhat of its own film industry.
Oh, no, of course. I still haven't, Madoff. I think this is going to be my empty man. I still haven't watched Tukibuki, that classic Cameroonian movie. Actually, no, I started it, and it's so modern. It's so modern with its themes. That movie. Anyway, I do suggest I'm gonna be like, if you actually want to be like get in tune with diversity and the variety of filmmaking that we have. Watch an African movie. Watch an actual Latin American movie rather than Hollywood's vision of Latin America. Which I also have an opinion about this American version of Russia, about Tetris. But we're moving swiftly on.
So from something that looks pretty bad, something that, in my opinion, now, I don't know about you guys, but in my opinion, it looks really, really good, is Extraction 2. Now, Extraction has a very, very soft spot in my heart because it's actually the actual first movie I ever reviewed on my YouTube channel. And so, obviously, I have a soft spot for it. And I really, really like Chris Hemsworth. I think he's a great action star movie. Not the best of actors, but like as purely as an action star, he really fits the role. Visually, this looks stunning. Like the camera work in play here. There's some excellent editing, making it all look like a one-shot scene. But I think this looks great. I did quite like the first one. I had some issues. I rewatched my review. I said that I had some issues with the characterization, and especially with the relationship between Chris Hemsworth's character and the little kid. I forgot who the little kid was, his name. But I had an issue with that relationship. But the action felt so gritty and so powerful and so real. And I'm a sucker for these movies that just are there to show off the stunt work and the practical effects. Like this shot, that looks good.
So good.
That looks so good. Like coming from Blue Beetle to this, it's like night and day.
Practical.
Franco.
No, practicals. And they up the ante on the grittiness as well. I hope they up the ante also on characterization as well.
Yes, I hope so. Because the movie really does need a bit more characterization.
Like
look at this shot,
the
man.
shot is so.
It looks good.
But I think it's. I think here there's a good mixture of practicals and CGI.
Yes,
If you notice,
yes,
because
definitely.
they did use a real helicopter, and then when it obviously falls down, they switch it up to even the fire. The fire looked a bit fake, but then again, the shot looks freaking awesome, huh?
Yes. And we've got a director here who knows his action.
Yeah.
Sam Hargrave. Holy shit, that guy knows his action.
He was a stuntman as well. He's in the same vein as David Leitch and Chet Staleski, yeah.
Exactly.
I think
exactly.
for CG to look good, you need a smart director to know how to make it look good. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like CG artists can't just be left on their own devices to create these amazing. You need a great director to understand how to use it well. You know, that's why Jurassic Park of 1993 still stands up, you know, and has more convincing dinosaur effects than Jurassic World Dominion. You know what I mean? Because Spielberg is just a much smarter director. You know, he knows how to use it in limited amounts or whatever. He knows how to mix it with practicals.
I'm excited for this. Franco.
No, I was going to say something. No, continue, Andrea. It's fine.
All right, so not much more to say. I'm really, really excited for Extraction 2. This shot, especially the shot, this looks... man, this shot.
Have you seen Athena,
awesome.
Athena, guys? Speaking of,
I've been meaning to watch that for so long, man. No, I haven't.
That's some well choreographed action. Do watch it, and there's also a powerful theme behind it as well. Huh? Illustrated, that was some good action.
I have to get around doing it, and it's a lot longer. Eh, Franco, it's like 1
hour,
hour 40 minutes.
1 hour 40, something like that.
It's on Netflix, right?
Yes.
Yes. Now I have to get around. I'll watch it during the holidays now. Okay, guys. Next up, another series. This time, series not movie that looks pretty decent in my opinion. We had the trailer for the Secret Invasion, obviously, in which we'll be seeing Samuel L. Jackson. Let's start off with Franco. Your thoughts on this?
So I saw the trailer. Finally, a trailer from Marvel that looks almost complete. For the many times that we see some things like, is this movie done special effects wise? But seeing what kind of it seems there's a turning point with Secret Invasion, that they're trying to make it a bit more gritty. I'm noticing even the color grading is much more darker in tone, so to speak. Especially there's the few shots where what's his name? Samuel L. Jackson is with Ben Mendelsohn in that shot. It looked like they're going for some kind of thriller sort of movie. This is really ill-timed, by the way, the bombing in a Russian place. Really ill-timed. And we're speaking of the practical and CGI. I think, for example, this is. Would you notice that this CGI? There's a good mixture over here. I'm interested. This is the creator is Kyle Brand. What's his name again? Sorry. We're looking for the director. I know for our listeners, whenever there's some dead air, it's because we're looking at who the director is.
So cast.
Okay, so it's created by Kyle Bradstreet. I don't know, but there's no director, right? So far,
They probably have different directors for episodes, eh? Like
no.
they normally do.
Ali Salim.
Okay.
The director is Ali Salim.
Who's that, Franco?
I have no idea. I'm trying to see what he did. He did Criminal Minds, Grace Point. He's more into TV apparently. It looks like.
So Kyle Bradstreet is the creator.
Mm-hmm.
Worked on Mr. Robot. Have you guys watched Mr. Robot?
Nope.
Oh.
Never seen Mr. Robot.
Oh, now, okay.
Writer on Mr. Robot.
How do you
Copper,
feel about Mr. Robot? Because I know
Borgia.
you're kind of mixed on, what's his name? Rami Malek.
No, Rami Malek, as for Mr. Robot, I think it worked well. I don't know. I feel, but now I also see that he was in short term 12. I wonder what was his turn. On
He had a very, very small role in Short Term 12.
Vera.
Yeah.
Because I saw the poster and there's Rami Malek, like, okay. No, but as far with Rami Malek's, before we made a comparison of Elvis and Bohemian Rhapsody. I'm with Joe on this one. That Austin Butler and Rami Malek actually they did a very good, almost pitch perfect impression of their characters. Not create a character and made it their own.
With regard to the director, I know nothing they've done. I know literally nothing they've done, except obviously I've heard of Criminal Minds, but I mean, I haven't watched any of them.
Maybe this might be his break, especially for
Let's see.
Marvel. It might be his finally his calling card. Apparently he did some shorts or Sweetland. What's Sweetland, for example? No, Sweetland is actually his movie.
And I like the tone, to be honest. I like the darker tone. I like Marvel Cinematic Universe really needs a bit of a darker tone. Like some movies are just... Oh, don't get me started on Thor.
So go slightly back.
This one?
No, even more further, where there's Samuel L. Jackson with Emilia Clarke. Oh, see, there's that shot. That's practical, purely practical for sure, of the car. And there's a shot that's practical. That you see how grounded it is. Anka, if you notice, sorry, I'm making a commentary that the helicopters also you see the flaring in front of the helicopter of the sun. Keep frame by frame. So there's the flaring. Keep on going, and see that blooming in front of the helicopter. That makes a whole lot of difference. You notice that they had time on like refining the special effects as well.
I remember a quote from a YouTube channel. I always remember forget their name. It was, "You won't notice, but your brain will."
Yep.
Like these kind of effects, you maybe won't notice them but your brain is noticing that there's something that's off or something that's looking good.
Is it by any chance Corridor Crew?
No, not Corridor Crew.
Okay.
I'll tell you if I remember.
Awesome.
Let's move on, guys. So that's Secret Invasion. Another trailer, because damn, we've got a lot of trailers this week, is for a movie. I think it's one of those movies I'm most excited for this year, which is Barbie. And the famous, are you going to watch Barbie or Oppenheimer First Flight? Let's start off with Joe. Your thoughts on teaser trailer number 2 for Barbie?
It's colourful. That to be the first one. It's extremely colourful, but I actually do love this moment when she takes off the shoes and she's still on her tiptoes. That's fantastic. Like, great. That's like a gag in and of itself. But my favourite thing about this trailer is I still don't know what the fuck is going on, but I still really want to see it. Like, I can't tell you what this film is actually totally about. I think it's hinting that, like, Barbie's going to go to the real world for some reason. I don't know. Does she turn into a toy when she gets there? That's how this works. But I don't know. But it seems charming. I like the cast. I like when a director takes a big swing. Like on Franco's discussion earlier about Wes Anderson having his thing. I like when directors have a thing. I do like when there's a director who's the best at their thing. But I also like it when a director as I said, takes a huge swing, does something completely out of left field. And even if that fails, I can normally appreciate when the director actually just attempts that. It shows ambition, it shows a want for growth and trying different things. And I don't think you could get more different than this compared to what Greta Gerwig has done before. I mean, going from being an actress in Mumblecore and then making a really good coming-of-age film and then remaking a beloved female-led drama to this, it's huge. So I'm more excited than I was before. I'll put it that way.
I really like the double entendre in the last one. No one is beaching his.
Bruce, your thoughts?
I was very excited about Barbie. Right? I am very excited about Barbie. I will go and see it when it comes out. But what kind of excited me was that literally it seemed so weird that Greta Gerwig and Noah Baumbach, I think is how you pronounce his name, was writing it. And that interested me even more, I think, than Greta Gerwig. Was like Noah Baumbach, the guy who wrote and directed Marriage Story and all these very odd kind of human drama was writing this film. But the more I feel I know about it, the more I kind of see, okay, it's doing that thing, and the less excited I get. It's kind of doing, it's like Pee-wee's Big Adventure where he's going to go into the real world and it's going to be the fish out of water thing. The more I feel like, okay, this is just going to be a proper normal movie, the less interested I am. I was like super excited when I saw the weird 2001 A Space Odyssey teaser, because I was like, really, what the fuck is this thing doing? You know what I mean? Now I'm kind of connecting the dots and I'm kind of seeing how this plot is going to probably pan out, and it's losing that excitement for me.
Fair enough. Okay, so those are our thoughts on Barbie. We have one more trailer to talk about, which is the Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse trailer, which we got literally just today. And I'm going to start off with Joe. I know Joe loves the original Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse movie. Joe, what do you think about this first trailer?
For a Marvel hater, please note, huh? For a Marvel hater.
It's not MCU. There are people with actual vision behind this.
True.
And speaking of that vision, they're fucking going for it again with this one. Like, my story behind watching the first Spider-Verse was, I was working at Eden at the time, rest in peace, and I had my free monthly ticket, which I could get a friend with me as well. There was Spider-Verse on, and we said, oh, this has good reviews, let's go watch it. And we had a fucking great time. Like, I still remember my friend leaning over to me at one point, about 20 minutes in. He's like, is it me or does this movie, like, fucking rule? And I was like, yes, it does. And we had an amazing time with Into the Spider-Verse. And it's doing everything a sequel should be doing. It's expanding the world of the original, whilst being bigger and seemingly better so far already. And in terms of bigger, this looks huge. With the amount of spider people that you see in it. Just in this is all they're showing us in the trailer. So I can't imagine how many more they're going to cram into the film. They do the beloved meme, as Andrea pointed out, of the pointing Spider-Man, but this time
I wish they didn't show it, I wish they didn't show it, man.
And
in the trailer.
they did it better. I'm gonna go ahead and say it. They did it better than Spider-Man with Doctor Strange. Was that No Way Home?
Oh yeah, No Way Home was just nostalgia baiting. Yes.
Yeah, they do that. They do that with Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield, but they did it much better here.
Because here it's a self-aware joke. In No Way Home, it's nostalgia baiting. It's like, look at these two guys who you like. You know?
This guy is whoever is trypophobic is creepy as fuck, Mr. Spot. And is that Oscar Isaac, the villain's not the villain's voice?
I believe because that Spider-Man had it's very confusing. He had a cameo at the end of the first Spider-Verse in a post-credit scene where it was voiced by Oscar Isaac. So I'm imagining, yes, it is the same. It is Oscar Isaac voicing again, but they could have changed it. It could be a different one who looks exactly the same because we've seen hundreds of them now. So, but the animation looks insane again.
Mm-hmm. I'm actually now more excited watching this than when I watched the teaser.
Yeah, it's nice to see some familiar faces like Spider-Gwen and the Jake Johnson Spider-Man as well, because I mean Jake Johnson is just one of my favorite people in general, so I like it when he's in anything.
Can we talk a little bit about the animation? Because post Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, literally everyone tried to copy the animation style, right?
Yes.
But now they've like upped the ante even more, and like they're adding even more creativity and more like
it looks like
just looks so good.
It looks like Nicholas Winding Refn took control of the color, and then they just animated it in Spider-Verse style, which is incredible, to be fair.
Yeah, some of it is really beautiful. Some of it looks like an album cover, like that shot of Gwen Stacy like standing at the side of a building, and he's looking out of his like. That's an amazing shot. Like Spider-Verse had some amazing, like the first one, like when he's falling and it's like upside down.
Yes.
Like some of those visuals are incredible.
But he said they made it. I think somehow you noticed that when they were doing the analysis, the first time you see him falling down. But the other time when you see him falling down and you see he's going up the buildings, it's because he's rising to the occasion, to put it very simply and like poorly.
Yeah.
But that was the moment. And quick trivia time. There's a terminology in animation to animate on twos and on ones. So when before he became Spider-Man, he's animated on twos. So he's very clumsy as far as movement goes. But then they animate him on ones, so his movements become more smoother as you go along.
Cool.
Nice.
And on Franco's point before of like virtue signaling and stuff like that, and different ethnicities needing a hero to look to, in Miles Morales, you have a black person and who's also Latino. You know, it ticks that box as well without being a virtue signal or without being preachy or stupid.
Absolutely true, man. Absolutely true.
It's just an important part of the story, and that's it.
Yeah.
Shit.
Good.
Have you seen the trailer for the Ninja Turtles? Because they're doing a very similar kind of like sketchy style.
Yeah, with Seth Rogen Ninja Turtles.
I think it's Seth Rogen.
No, I haven't.
It's it's visually pretty cool. It's like you're seeing
Visually
like these
pretty,
pen sketchy marks, you know, it's like it's almost been doodled kind of thing.
Even Puss in Boots. Puss in Boots followed the same...
Yes. Puss in Boots animation was amazing. Puss in Boots animation was so good. But looked amazing on my television. Like on my television, generally stuff looks shit because I can't get the quality appropriate for my television, unfortunately. But I managed to find... Okay, let me rephrase this. I managed to find a 4K Blu-ray, haha, funny, and watched it on my television, and it looked amazing. Like the animation was stunning. I really enjoyed Puss in Boots too. That was a damn good movie. Franco.
Now just gonna say, guys, did we miss some important news? Remember to follow us, like us, and comment to us. Tell Bruce is a bad person. Tell Andrea he's a bad person because he hates Last Jedi. Tell me I'm a bad person because I hate Wes Anderson. And tell Joe he's the good guy in all of this.
I hate the MCU. I'm definitely not.
But everyone agrees with you now.
Yeah, that's why you're all coming to my side all of a sudden. Everyone said for years, "Oh, you're just grumpy. You hate good things." Nope.
You're just.
And Joe, where should they follow us?
You can find us on Facebook, TikTok, Twitter, Instagram. You can follow us on Apple Podcasts. You can find us on Spotify. You can find us on Google Podcasts, and you can also find us on YouTube. I believe that's all of them. Franco also has a Tinder and a Grindr because he's lonely and has no friends. You can find him there.
Nice.
Non-gamers, please.
Specific distaste for gamers as well.
Hey, I actually gave you some good gaming content last time.
Yes. True. All right, guys. So we can literally fly through these because it's already 1 hour 30 minutes. But this is like a moment where I have to be honest here. Do you know I actually haven't watched Paddington 1 and 2?
Me neither.
Really?
Don't worry.
I watched half the first Paddington and fell asleep, and yeah, that's.
Were you ever hugged by your parents?
No, wait 1 second. I didn't dislike Paddington 1. I was just so tired that I just fell asleep.
Okay, fair enough.
Like exhausted.
The Paddington movies feel like a nice warm hug.
Yes, it felt like a very sweet movie.
No.
I've seen
He-
Paddington and half of Paddington 2. Again, it was like I had to stop, not because I didn't like it, but I was loving it. I don't know why I never continued it. But
Look, it's in the name. It's lots of padding by the ton. Paddington.
I did quite.
Joe,
I did,
please
I did,
save
I
us.
did quite like for a good time. Paddington 2 was the highest reviewed movie on Rotten Tomatoes, above Citizen Kane.
Citizen Kane.
and then like
And there
one
were-
critic gave it a bad review, and everyone piled in on it.
Yeah.
Like, how dare you give Paddington 2 a bad review?
I just like I really like there were the memes of the guy who's like squatting by like the grave at the cemetery, and he's doing like the peace sign.
Yeah,
But
exactly.
they just put Paddington's face and then like Citizen Kane on the grave. It was great.
That's good.
There's-
That's
there's
what's
a-
gonna happen when my John Wick 2 review comes out. John Wick 4.
Oh,
John Wick
shit.
2 or 4?
4.
I mean, 2 times 2.
yeah.
Yeah, Bruce, I really think
Can't
you
even
just
tell
made
them
yourself.
apart.
You kind of overdosed on John Wick, I think.
Yes, yes.
There's a reason those
Maybe.
films were released like 3 years apart. Like,
But
you
look,
saw-
I watched Top Gun, right? Maybe the night or even maybe the day I saw Top Gun Maverick, right? And I really didn't like Top Gun, the first one of Tom Cruise. I really wasn't interested in it at all. I was bored throughout. Then loved Top Gun Maverick. So I was like,
Yeah.
maybe it's gonna be the same thing. Maybe this one I'll get it. You know, it's gonna completely work. Just didn't.
Fair enough.
But I love the original Top Gun, man. I love it so much. It has such a soft spot in my heart when
You remember the story, Bruce? I said the story about Top Gun, right?
No.
Where when I was young, okay, it's in the episode, so let's not repeat. But in the episode, I mentioned that when I was young, I saw the plane take off the aircraft carrier, and I went behind the television to see where the plane went.
Oh, right.
This was the top 10 movies, right? Episode, I think, Franco.
Yes,
the
for
Top
you
Gun
to talk
Maverick.
about.
That's, yeah.
And about Paddington, there's a good sequence with Brendan Gleeson. Banshees
Yes, I
of-
heard he's very good in it, apparently.
Yeah.
But this is not Paul King,
Talking about-
right?
sorry,
this
Bruce.
is not Paul King. Because Paul King was kind of like the visual genius director behind the first two. But I don't think this one is Paul King.
No, he's not doing this. No, he's not doing this. Apparently, I was reading it's a new director. Apparently, it's his first movie.
That kind of worries
let
me
me
a little
check.
bit.
Yeah.
Let me
'Cause-
check. But Paul King is going to be like overwatching the whole project, but he's not going to be like full on directing it.
Because he's doing Wonka with Timothy Chalamet. That's his next
Yes.
thing.
That's a
Here's
movie
a-
people
Yes.
were dying for, I suppose.
Much Tim Burton. Sorry, wait. Not
No, Tim Burton did Johnny,
with Johnny
Factory
Depp.
with Johnny
Sorry,
Depp.
sorry.
But like the new Wonka with Timothy Chalamet is Paul King.
The director is Dougal, Dougal,
Dougal. The Magic Roundabout.
Dougal Wilson, who has literally no movies. He's got the music video of Coldplay Live in Technicolor 2.
Okay.
That's pretty much it.
Here's
Nothing else.
here's another dream couple that will cream your pants. David Lowry and Paddington.
Oh. I mean, if you tell me David Lowery in anything, I just go yes, please.
I mean,
Let's manifest, guys. Let's manifest.
I kind
Yes.
of want like David Lowery to be given like the Lord of the Rings.
Whoa.
oh shit,
Oh.
Picture it, right?
shit.
Guys, we should actually do an episode with our dream couples, like we mentioned, George Lucas and James Cameron, for
Exactly.
example.
I remember
Me
when
and
I
Florence
was
Pugh.
in. I was in.
No, me and Florence Pugh.
Have you ever heard of Sid Jess?
No one, and Florence Pugh. Okay, guys, she chooses. All right.
Bruce.
Have you ever heard of Sid Jess, the horror film festival in Spain?
No.
No.
I suggest yes,
Yeah?
yes.
I went there. I saw a screening. I think it was an early premiere or something like that, or an early screening of a ghost story. That's
Okay.
Dave Lowery, right? And that is the same.
Yeah,
guy.
Yeah.
And there was like that long, protracted sequence where she's eating the ice cream, and it was like literally the audience is like, "Is this like a joke? Is this like a like?" And people started laughing. So people like it was like insane how long that section was. It was like people went through the whole thing of like first not sure, then laughing, then But I found that a bit pretentious. I found that
No,
ice
but
cream eating thing was like too much.
but that makes the whole point. It's like you went through the 7 stages of grief in
maybe.
that whole sequence.
Yeah.
That's an interesting thing. Was I saw it on my own. It was like I was like, lala, how long the sequence is. But for you to mention how the audience went from feeling uncomfortable to laughter to then what's going on to then,
Exactly.
oh my god, man, this woman is sad, and then it's like, okay, it's going to be too long.
But in fact, by the time she threw the thing, literally the whole cinema was like, "Wah!" You know, it was, it was like, by that point we were so like desperate to see her finish this effing Ben and Jerry's, and literally it was like when someone scored the goal and
Was it a rhubarb pie?
Yeah,
it wasn't
pie.
a
She
Ben
eats
and
was
it.
it a pie?
Yeah,
Okay,
pie.
I thought it was ice cream.
I think it's like a 4-minute one take of Rooney
Okay.
Mara eating a pie in one sitting.
Okay.
I just kept telling her to stop the entire time I was watching it. I was just like, come on, it's too much pie for one person.
Give us a piece.
All right, guys, moving on really quickly because we've spoken quite a lot about this movie already, but we got the first reactions to Beau is Afraid. I don't know, guys, did you hear about the story of what happened on April Fool's Day?
Yes, and I'm
So-
really upset about it.
Yeah.
The whole Midsommar, everyone thought they were going to go watch Midsommar, and surprise, surprise, they actually screened Beau is Afraid at the
and they
Alamo
got
Craft House.
given drinks and a load of merch that isn't going to be on sale as well. Like, fuck those people.
La,
Yeah,
la,
little
la. That's
fucking lucky.
he's an evil genius, man. This
Yeah.
guy. No, apparently Florence Pugh said that he's very funny. This guy is very funny.
Yeah, apparently he's like a stand-up comedian.
Petit Lupin.
But yeah, I
And-
can't wait for this film.
Yeah. Bruce, you might know. Do you have any idea if this is coming out of Malta or not? I haven't seen it advertised anywhere.
Not sure, actually. I would
We can-
imagine that
guys-
Sparks you would show it, no? But
We can no, but
Oh,
we can
God.
lobby Eden because I heard from Rebecca Anastasi they were not going to show Nope in at Eden, and the students petitioned Eden to show
just,
Nope,
yeah.
and they managed to get
How
it.
good.
So if we petition,
We need to petition, because I think if I don't
Apparently,
get to watch...
it's not coming to the UK until 19th May, so nearly a month after it releases. in the UK.
Madonna.
But in a way, like,
When-
what a weird
Really
world
upset.
where like a cinema wouldn't release Nope. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
Beau is Afraid, I can kind of understand, but Nope, like, you know, like a summer blockbuster in the vein of Jaws from Jordan Peele, you're not gonna
Yeah.
put that in cinema. It's like, it was really strange.
no, not put that and then put what was it?
It was like 50 anime movies. Like, it was like 50 different manga movies.
And it's not and not even the. Have you heard of Suzume? I haven't heard of Suzume.
I haven't, but I saw it advertised. I watched the trailer. It actually looks really good.
Yeah.
Who's the director? Is it Your Name director by any chance? Your Name. I love Your Name. Speaking of anime.
1 second.
I mean, I like anime, but like, at least put one of the screens for Nope, you know, at least don't have them all hogged up by anime.
Actually looks really good. The trailer looks incredible. The animation style. I'm not the biggest anime fan,
Just a
to be
second.
honest with you.
No, but have you watched Your Name?
No.
Lalo,
Nope.
that is one of the best animes I've watched. And Makoto Shinkai. Yeah, he's the same director.
Have you heard of a film called Belle? That's something I really want to see.
Belle, yes, and
Bell isn't Bell at the Bell or
Not Belle,
or
not
Bell.
Belle with an E. Belle, exactly. Yeah, that's it. That's it.
Mamoru Hosoda, and he also had a good. He had Summer Wars. Well, no, is it the same guy who did Summer Wars? Let me check.
I think so.
Yes.
Yes. I really want to see this
And
film, still Belle.
That and The Girl Who Leapt Through Time.
I'm not the biggest anime fan. Gonna be
You're
honest.
missing out.
Laqas xi spustra, laqas Evangelion, għaxina I'm obsessed with Evangelion.
No, I watched a few series here and there, but movies like literally barely anything.
Mela guys, okay. I think we should do a live reaction of this trailer. Search Shin Kamen Rider.
Oh, 1 second. How do you write that?
SHIN
S. Sorry, N.
Kamen, Kaman. Right there.
This one?
Trailer, yeah.
Trailer.
What's
Was that the Beau is Afraid trailer, by the way?
Yes.
Yes, it is.
official
There's a
trailer?
new.
True.
There's a
another
new
trailer,
teaser
yeah.
today. Oh, yeah, another trailer.
This is the director is the same director of Neon Genesis Evangelion. But look at look at how goofy this is, guys.
Is this like the fake Blue Beetle?
It looks better than Blue Beetle already.
It does. To be fair.
There hasn't been any CGI so far, so
True.
I kind of dig the
Right.
outfit.
No,
Yes.
the outfit looks great, but it is very goofy because I've seen some.
What the fuck?
Oh my god.
Because this is based on an anime, so and I
When,
think I really don't
when
know.
people try to do anime in live action,
Um,
that's a
questionable.
It's
I need
a
to
risk.
rewatch. I need to rewatch Speed Racer of the Wachowskis because apparently
It's-
that's
love
become
all
like
of
a cult classic now. And
It's going through a reappraisal, huh? It's going through a reappraisal.
I need to rewatch it.
All right, guys. Let's move on to the last two pieces of news really quickly. We can hate on this really quickly, and then. So, Joe, I want you to talk about this.
I hate it a lot. I don't need to say what it. It's it is everything wrong with Hollywood at the moment. That's what
With
this-
Disney. With Disney.
No, but even just like with, I mean, I don't hate Dwayne Johnson. I don't really hate anyone working in Hollywood, but it is the problem with certain stars who have built up such like power around the persona, being able to do what they want without having any kind of like actual scope or clue, which is it's impressive to me that you can be in a world and in an industry for so long and still be so fucking clueless about something. Because Moana came out, what, 4 or 5 years ago?
Five.
And it's one of Disney Pixar's highest rated animated movies ever. Do we need
I mean, it made
this?
a lot of money, to be fair.
Do we need this? It's not going to look as good as the
No.
original Moana, because the original Moana looks fantastic. Incredible. It's one of the most visually stunning films ever. Like it feels like a vanity project from Dwayne Johnson, to be honest. It feels like, okay,
Yep.
my superhero stuff failed. Let me go and remake something which was a really big hit for me already.
But like, shame on Disney, man, for like
Yeah.
scraping the bottom of the barrel like this much, man. This thing is just like hardly cold, you know what I mean? And they're already remaking this effing animation. It's like, if the Pinocchio movie wasn't soulless enough, man, they're already gonna jump onto these recent CG animations and stuff for these fucking live action remakes. It just feels like this whole live action thing is just like this money printing machine, you know?
Yeah.
That they're just chucking anything into.
Yeah, they're not even really live action because they're 99% CGI anyway.
And speaking of rehashing stuff,
Oh, speaking of rehashing stuff, oh my god. Good segue, Franco. This is not news I thought you would be talking about today, to be honest with you, as I was preparing the news yesterday.
Andrea, please let Bruce explain his pitch for
Yeah.
this one, because this is.
I think the only
Go
way
for
to
it,
dress
Bruce.
this up is to get Zendaya in as Hermione and just do the Euphoria version of Hogwarts. Everything's neon lit. Everyone's taking like magical pixie dust. You know, like sex cam
Yeah.
parties in the Gryffindor.
I was going to say, there's really, really gratuitous sex scenes all over the place.
and to stick it to J.K. Rowling, make Professor McGonagall a transsexual,
Well,
a trans woman.
it said in the bad thing is about this. It said in the subheading there that Rowling is apparently going to be involved. Now the sad
Oh
thing,
my god.
the sad thing
no.
about this is
Oh shit.
this is going to upset a community that is already upset by a lot of this, and I'm not going to act like I'm upset for them. I don't have the right to be upset for them because I'm not part of their community, but I don't want them to be upset either. What I'm going to be upset about is the division this is going to cause even more between certain segments of society, because you're going to have a lot of toxicity flying around on both sides, unfortunately, and it's good for no one at the end of the day.
Hagrid will say, "You're a turf now, Harry."
Oh God.
Jesus Christ. But yeah, I don't think we need this. This is obviously off the back of Hogwarts Legacy doing really, really well, and they're trying to cash in.
And they all, for clarity, they're literally doing Philosopher's Stone to Deathly Hallows again.
Yeah, apparently it's going to be, each book will be a season of television.
Oh la la, no,
Jesu
come on, guys,
Christo, my
please.
God, think of a new idea, eh? My God.
Thank
as well,
you, Bruce.
Think of
Here's the thing as well,
something new, man. It's like, it's insane, man, how Hollywood has just completely run out of ideas. That they're doing this and the Moana live-action remake is sad, man.
It's all IP. Everything is fucking
Yes,
IP,
but that's Hollywood. Hollywood is looking for franchises and IP.
In fact,
that's pretty
more
much
like
it.
HBO would be more intelligent about this, though.
In fact, I know, Joe, that you didn't like 65, right, at all. But at least, for all its problems, it was like something new.
No,
like,
actually,
it's like,
actually over there, I completely agree with you. My biggest critique of 65 was it's actually a really interesting concept. It's just executed poorly. Now, if they told me HBO have acquired the rights to 65 and they're making a television series based in that world, then I go, okay, because we've got a really good concept there, and in the right hands, you can make something really good with that.
Can I ask something? Why hasn't Hollywood remade bad movies?
because they don't.
Because bad movies won't
Yeah.
attract people.
No, but you can all improve on them. Why?
But you're not going to attract people.
No, but
Straight and plain.
but why go for Vertigo then?
Uh-huh,
Why
but
go to remake fucking Vertigo?
No, I
out
agree.
Of all movies?
I agree, Franco. And I think there is a specific type of bad movie which also has a kind of a cultural affection. That is like the sweet spot if you want to actually make a remake that is going to be profitable. Like, for example, do you think that Waterworld could get a good remake?
Yes.
If James Cameron directed it now,
Or George Miller. If George Miller did a
that'd be sick.
Waterworld.
That would be sick.
Ooh, la,
Like,
la.
because that has an interesting kind of setup. Sort of like the world is flooded and people live. But it was a bad movie. Like, do that again, you know what I mean?
But you see what I mean, because that's a really great idea. You know, George Miller directing Waterworld. Or what else was a bad movie?
There's so many.
I mean, even 50 Shades of Grey could have been a great.
Oh yeah, give it to David Fincher. Great film.
Il-jastra kieku.
I don't think he'd do it, but it could be great if he did.
You know who would be a great Mr. Grey? Tom Cruise. Because he's the kind of guy, when you listen to him in a
Cinema.
because he is like this kind of charming guy, but he has this really strange intensity to him that you really don't know.
He's a psychopath Scientologist. That's
Yeah. I can imagine him.
Who does great, amazing stunts.
Yeah.
I have to give it to that.
He does.
Yeah.
Anyway, guys.
All right, guys.
What's time now? What's time for now, Andrea?
Time for the reviews, guys. We've got around like 12-15 minutes to fit in both reviews.
Oh la la.
I think we can do it because we haven't got like big movies.
But
to talk
before
about.
before going to the reviews, what should they do,
Before going
Bruce?
to the reviews, Bruce.
Like you on Facebook, follow you on Spotify, Instagram, Grindr, Tinder, send a LinkedIn requests.
Join our Discord.
Write a love letter. I don't know what else.
But by the way, I think it's about fucking time. But we didn't introduce Bruce properly. What does Bruce do actually?
I accidentally joined. I meant to be on another.
Look, Bruce. Bruce is Bruce. That's all we have.
Everyone was
honest with you-
too polite to ask like who this guy was, and I just
I just
sat
signed it randomly. To be honest with you, I don't think we really need to introduce Bruce to the film-loving community
the man
in
who needs
Malta.
no introduction.
No, but
The
Bruce
man is not
Bruce
the
Micallef is also a film director. He's also a filmmaker. He's now a director for TV commercials. He also was responsible of doing. I forgot the name. Video Nasties.
Oh yeah.
One of my first short films there.
Yeah, it's actually weirdly, it's like one of the. I have an I never actually set up an IMDb page for myself, but I have an IMDb page, and like staked Joe's short film is like my credit on that thing.
I think we could set them up after we had done that film.
Okay. But and I write film reviews as well in my spare time, which I
very
post
controversial.
which I post on.
Very
Pretty
controversial.
yeah.
Very controversial film reviews. He likes
For
65.
loving Elvis.
Love 60. Well, I
Exactly.
love 60. It was good. It was alright. I thought it was okay.
And then he hates on John Wick. But you made
Jeez.
you made the
2
mistake.
stars. I'll say that. It's 2 stars. It's only a 1 star thing. A good
Damn.
friend of mine, Daniel Teen, is the really harsh one.
Oh yeah, yes.
I like his reviews, but he really goes for it. I've never given a 1-star review yet.
Really? Yes,
Never
sir.
yet.
Damn.
Not at least not since I've been writing for Gadgets.
No, I've given zeros as well
What
in the
was
past
the
as well.
0?
Yes. Oh, I didn't. Yeah, I can't. I don't
I
remember
gave
what it
Don't
was.
Worry Darling a half star.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, the film was fine. I really don't get that.
I didn't. The only redeeming factor for me was Florence Pugh was trying really hard with nothing.
That's key.
So we're gonna change the name of this podcast from the Ad Lib Podcast to Florence Pugh Simp Podcast.
Yes.
Yes.
At long last, you
Oh,
guys have been
Morbius,
simping over
Morbius,
Florence.
Bruce.
I haven't seen Morbius. I haven't
Morbius,
seen
I
Morbius.
think I gave that a 0.5,
Okay.
or I'm not sure, between a 0.5 or a 0.
Okay.
I'm not sure what I gave it.
Maybe I
that
would have
was-
given
oh, my
Quantumania
lord.
a 1 star, but I didn't review it that time.
That was awful. Jesus. I think that's one I remember. I don't remember any other like really. But there are some zeros in my reviews.
But this is all building up to the blocks.
Yes.
So that's a very clunky segue.
Segue. All right, guys. So let's move on to our reviews. Joe is going to start off with Dungeons and Dragons, which I expected. I was thinking it was going to be one of those 1-star reviews.
Yeah, same.
But Joe,
But I told you so. I hate to say I told you so.
I told you so.
So if Andrea can scroll down for me, just so I can see the plot description. So we have.
And he watched the movie, yeah? He
Yes, I
doesn't
know that I like to give always the official synopsis, like lest I give anything away. You can zoom out a bit more as I need to see the directors because there's 2 of them and I forget their names. But anyway, we have Dungeons and Dragons: Honor Among Thieves, and it's about a charming thief and a band of unlikely adventurers embark on an epic quest to retrieve a lost relic, but things go dangerously awry when they run afoul of the wrong people. This is written by John Francis Daly and Jonathan Goldstein. It's also written by them as well, along with Michael Gillio, and stars Chris Pine, Michelle Rodriguez, Regé John Page. There's Justice Smith as well, Sophia Lillis, and Hugh Grant. So quite the cast. Now, full disclaimer, I don't know about you guys, but I've played quite a lot of Dungeons and Dragons in my time. Fairly recently, to be fair, like in the last 6 years or so, but I did only last December finish a campaign that me and my friends were playing for 5 years. Right? So I'm fairly familiar with the lore and the game systems and stuff like that. And as I said in my TikTok review, the promotions for this film, the poster, the trailers, everything looked terrible. It looked like CGI rubbish. It looked a bit like too much on the silly side, and I was not interested at all. What did change my mind to go and watch it was we heard a lot of positive buzz out of South by Southwest, and even the fact that a film like this was shown at South by Southwest, I was just surprised by. And like in short, it's good. Like it's really light-hearted fun. And like to speak on the CGI side of things, we are seeing like big monsters and stuff like that. The biggest surprise I had in this film is it rode a really nice line between practicality and CGI. It really felt like the times CGI was used was when like we absolutely cannot do this practically. Like we can't make a dragon practically, it just doesn't make sense. Or we can't make this.
Oh, just fight the dragon.
Exactly. Or we can't make an owlbear practically because they're not even a real thing. Or like the big Colosseum and stuff. There's plenty of CGI, but then what like I really liked, and like I'll compare this to like the World of Warcraft movie, which people know that I despise. Even like the variety of races that you see throughout the world of Dungeons & Dragons. So you've got like an Aarakocra is like an eagle person. They're like humanoid, but they're an eagle. Or a Dragonborn, which is humanoid, but they're a dragon. Or like the elves and stuff, or orcs. Those are all practical costumes. And they look incredible. Like it really makes the world feel like lived in. That's what the biggest surprise I had about this film. I was like, holy shit, there's so much actual genuine practicality in it. And to kind of like sum it up, the film is essentially Ocean's 11, but set in the Dungeons & Dragons world. It's a heist movie, like a heist comedy. The cast are all great, and especially Hugh Grant has some of like the funniest scenes that there are. Like I sat there in the theater with a bunch of people, just having a good time and laughing and enjoying myself. Now it's no great work of art, definitely not, but it's definitely a solid movie that I would tell people, look, if you want to watch something just over 2 hours and have fun, this is a really good movie to go and see, and it'll definitely introduce people to the world of Dungeons & Dragons, maybe get them interested in that. And another good thing as well, for sort of like the fans like me that know their shit, there's a lot in there, like paying attention to the lore of stuff. Like they name drop a few like very famous people throughout like certain campaigns and stuff. So there's stuff in there for the diehard fans as well. Now, the only big retraction that I have is obviously things being IP and everyone wants a franchise. They're not, I don't think they're totally setting up for a franchise here, but there is like a tiny hint of it, of where the story could go. What I would actually like to see from this now, of like this Dungeons and Dragons universe, definitely make more Dungeons and Dragons films if they're going to be like this. But take a note out of Dungeons and Dragons book and do them like different campaigns, do different stories with different characters every time. And that way you're going to have something which isn't going to necessarily get stale, and then you could probably bring in a character or two who recurs and stuff like that. That would be a really cool thing, I think, to kind of expand this world and give it to people. But no, I was extremely pleasantly surprised with this film. It's probably that rating, 7.6, 7.5 on 10 is exactly right. So a solid 3.5 out of 5. I enjoyed it. Like it's as I said, light-hearted fun in the vein of like an Ocean's 11.
Can I ask regarding Dungeons and Dragons, because I don't know much about the actual thing. Is there an actual story to the game, or is it just like a game where you invent the story yourself? And if so, like what's this exactly based on?
So Dungeons and Dragons, obviously, there are different campaigns, and campaigns can last X amount of time. Now, throughout a campaign, you always have a beginning, which will set the goal, and ways to get to the goal. You have to have like an end game of how this is supposed to end, but you can fail as well, because it's all down to dice rolls. Another thing about this film, which was really good, it really captured the feeling of, especially like the action sequences, things felt like a roll of the dice. It felt like taking a chance, and like you don't know what's going to happen. But to answer your question, it is kind of very, because obviously in Dungeons & Dragons you have your players and you have the Dungeon Master who controls the game. In this sense, it would be the director who would be the Dungeon Master in this. And it's kind of to your discretion as the Dungeon Master, because even as well, I mean, some Dungeon Masters won't do it, but the few times I've done like very small campaigns here and there, I've decided to bend rules for the sake of fun or for the sake of creativity. And then you can you do kind of push your players in a certain direction. But as an example, I said I played that campaign, which took me and my friends 5 years to complete. The Dungeon Master of that campaign had done that exact campaign with another group of friends and they just went in a completely different direction to what we did. Like, we decided to try and like follow our main goal from the off, but they decided to just like go out into the world and kind of explore. And again, it's to the dungeon master's creativity and discretion of where things go. But then there is history involved in it. So if you play a certain campaign based in a certain time in the game world, there are events that have predated it, which are part of like the actual history of the game. It's massive, like Dungeons and Dragons. It's huge.
I need to try it sometime. It was something that I never did, Dungeons and Dragons.
It's very good fun, especially if you've got an imagination and you have a good group of people. Doing a whole campaign is a very big commitment. As I said, it took me and my friends 5 years. But then you can do things which are called one-shots, where you do a very small story in like one solid 4-hour session, where you've got a strict, like, it's much more streamlined, there's less exploration, but you still get a taste of what the game will be like.
Okie dokies. So that is Dungeons and Dragons. Big surprise. I really expected Joe to hate on
Same.
it, but
I was looking forward to hating on it, to be honest.
Overall reactions have been quite positive. Unfortunately, I don't think it's doing too amazing at the box office.
No,
I mean, it's number one.
It has actually overperformed what its projections were.
But still, I don't think it's going to make a profit, though. That's the issue. This is a very expensive movie.
It's going to be tough because it's released in between John Wick 4 and Super Mario.
True,
Yep.
there's also we have to remember that the not John Malkovich, the Jeremy Irons hot pile of shit.
Damn, that movie.
But this isn't connected to that in any way.
No.
Thank goodness. And from a board game to a classic game.
To another game. Franco, I'm going to introduce it really quickly and then give us your thoughts on Tetris. So, Tetris, directed by John S. Bird and written by Noah Pink, stars Taron Egerton, who is slowly starting to become one of my, one of those actors whom I'll search for. Like, if I see a Taron Egerton movie or series, I'll actively go and watch it just because of him. And Taron Egerton in this movie is Hank Rogers, who you might know as the man who was responsible for securing the rights to Tetris, to distribute Tetris on video game consoles. Anyways, so the movie is set in 1988, and we see Hank Rogers of Bulletproof Software, who starts off by marketing a game he had created at the Consumer Electronics Show, and it is there that he is introduced to the game Tetris, which was created by a Russian programmer named Alexei Pajitnov, who works for Elorg in the USSR. We see Hank Rogers attempting desperately to acquire the rights to the handheld Tetris games, but he has competition. There is the infamous Robert Maxwell and his son Kevin, who own the company Mirrorsoft, who are also very interested in securing the game rights. And that's basically the setup for the movie, and we see the battle between both sides attempting to sign the rights. Franco, your thoughts?
So, first of all, by the way, the father is Robert Maxwell, right?
Robert Maxwell, exactly.
The Robert Maxwell in the movie is the father of the infamous Ghislaine Maxwell.
Okay.
Oh shit.
Yep.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yes, that was a very interesting fact, which also piqued my interest. I was sitting up and following this movie. Another movie which is surprisingly good. The trailer. It's funny because the trailer wasn't it was for me. It was and then I watched the movie. So I watched the movie in 2 parts. I watched an hour this morning, and an hour just before the podcast. I was looking forward to continue the second hour. I have to mention, you're right about Taron Egerton. He's becoming he's carving a great path, a great career path, especially with Blackbird, which I really want to.
Blackbird is great. Rocketman.
And kudos to Apple Film, because I think they were also carving a niche in their production, especially with Severance.
Ted Lasso.
Ted Lasso.
Right, yeah.
And I wanted to say this is also executively produced by the real Hank Rogers and Alexei Pajitnov. So that's an interesting thing. So at first I was like, certain movies, when they say it's based on a true story, sometimes they embellish a lot, Oh, Jonas Bird did
Stan and Dolly.
Fit, all right, Astia. So when they say it's based on a true story, there's quite the embellishment, and I would like to see a documentary to see what was embellished and what was not.
Yeah,
but
definitely.
I was half expecting this movie to be like an ode to see the capitalist hero, but it's not exactly the thing, It's like communism bad, capitalism good. I mean,
no, not at all.
You couldn't be more hyper capitalist than Robert Maxwell and his nefarious going ons behind his son's back as well, so to speak. By the way, Robert Maxwell is played by Roger Allam. If you remember him from V for Vendetta, I would love to see him in a more soft character, because he always takes this kind of villainous characters. But he does carry his own, excuse the pun, weight in this movie. It was very enjoyable. I liked the graphics. I found it a bit like meh when there's the car chase, which, by the way, sometimes it was very realistic, and other times I could see that this was a whole CGI car chase. And I didn't like the fact that when they hit, they went like, it was a bit of...
But the Tetris effect was nice. Just everything else that didn't look that good about it, in my opinion.
Yeah, there was some set extensions, but maybe it was budgetary restrictions. I was actually impressed by how it was almost like a globe-trotting thriller.
Yes,
so to
it
speak.
was.
From
really didn't expect that, Astra.
And I feel it could have been more gelled in, especially the relationship with his family.
Yes, that's the one negative I had about the movie. The relationship with his family was a little underdeveloped, underdeveloped. Even Pajitnov's family. It's like we never know about his family as such. It was just that they liked. It's hinted at his father, right? The whole aspect of his father having being a professor and so on. But it's just like mentioned, and it's not. There was a lot more to develop in this movie. Although, to be fair, I thought the pacing was really good. Franco, I don't know about you.
Pacing was great. I would also like the pixel art, but then I think it went overboard during the car chase. The pixel art. That's what I was going to say.
Yeah, I didn't mind it. To be honest. No. Did you notice the tanks, Franco? How the tanks looked really bad, Astra.
The tanks, but because it was the end of the USSR under Gorbachev, and.
But those were CGI, right? The tanks.
I don't.
I think they were CGI. So I really need to. In my eyes, they were CGI and they looked pretty bad. But again, this could be another one of those giraffes.
Could be. It was a mixture of both. But the car chase, particularly the car chase, like at first, like, oh my god, the cars look really good. It took a second for me to realize, oh my god,
when it bounces, right? That's the issue I had with it. When it bounces, it looks really fake.
But it bounces.
But
I think it was a question in rendering. Was in one scene, it's like, oh my god, the car looks so realistic. And then all of a sudden it switches. One thing I have to say, this is done from the American's perspective, because Russia, so we mentioned that, shot in America, shot in Mexico.
Yes,
so shot in America and Japan, very modern. And then shot in Russia, communist Russia, grey, red.
Everything's grey, like literally everything is grey.
And I also liked what's his name, Belikov,
the Russian creator.
Yes, the guy responsible of Elorg. Not Pajitnov.
Yes. He actually was surprisingly nuanced. His performance quite nuanced.
And
I liked him. I liked him a lot as well. Yes, true.
please
What's
note,
his name?
there are two British Oleg Stefan. The Belikov.
Oleg Stefan. That's him. Yes.
And I have to point out Taron Egerton and what's his name? Where is he? Go down. Maybe he
Toby
shows.
Jones.
No, not Toby Jones. He's also in Andor. If you noticed as well.
Also in Andor.
Go down. I will. Ben Miles.
Ben Miles was in Coupling.
Yeah,
Coupling.
He was
That's
Patrick.
That's the series.
Yes.
That's the series.
he was the
Great
one speaking
series.
to Mon Mothma.
Great series.
He was the one speaking to Mon Mothma. He was like her friend,
Yeah.
right? Trying to help
Yeah.
her with their accounting
Yeah.
and whatnot.
They really pull off a great American accent, guys.
Oh, he was Peter Townsend in The Crown and Leia.
I mean, one
Yes,
observation.
he was really good in The
one
Crown.
observation I've made through like watching films all this time is typically British actors tend to do really good American accents, or just accents in general, and American actors tend to do terrible British accents.
Terrible.
Have you heard of
And,
a film called Pinball, The Man Who Saved the Game? Because it's really
But that's a
strange.
documentary, right?
No, I think that's that's another like fictional film based on a true story. That's like a mustachioed thriller set in the 80s. And it's like these two films came out like at the same time, it seems to be. And it's like they seem incredibly similar to me.
No, but I would suggest it's very enjoyable.
Yes.
I'd love to see the documentary for this. How nefarious it was. Taron Egerton really holds the film together as well.
He's charismatic as hell, man, that guy.
I do have to mention also like how commend the performance. I would go as far as to say I preferred his performance than Roger Elliams, the guy who plays his son, Kevin Maxwell. Call me, it's Mr. Maxwell for you.
It's Mr. Maxwell.
I've got a question to pose to you all. Do you think it's weird that particularly this year, 2023, we have, to my knowledge, 4 films about major products? So you have Tetris, you have Air, which comes out tomorrow, we have Barbie, and we have Blackberry coming in May, which I've already seen. Do you think?
I mean, it's not a surprise, to be honest.
I don't know, because I was actually I posed the question. It's not actually from me. I was actually listening to a podcast earlier today, where they were kind of posing the question of, is brand now just the new IP?
I think Barbie has to be taken out of those because that seems like such a different kind of thing. Like the others are sort of like dramas about like the actual creation of the product.
Yeah,
Barbie is just like fantasy.
But then, like the thing which leads me to say that obviously it has to because it is the case. But the first thing you see, like after the Barbie title, when it goes to like the credits and stuff,
Mattel.
it mentions that it's based on Barbie by Mattel.
Yeah.
That's why, because I noticed it as well, like watching Dungeons and Dragons. The first thing you see after that is
Hasbro.
Based on Dungeons and Dragons by Hasbro. Like,
But does
really,
like
really
Nike sponsor?
yes, I mean
Is it produced by Nike?
They'd have to have. I mean, whether it's produced by, but they're going to have some kind of stake in the film in order to allow the rights to go to it in order to be made.
Can I go quite political on this? Is it like they're trying to showcase capitalism, especially in this era where people are becoming more anti-capitalist, so to speak, not trusting of brands and whatnot. It's also a sort of rehashing the image. I mean, not that Tetris, like I said, at first I was very worried. I was very worried that this was going to be a sort of like another triumphal story of capitalism.
Capitalism over communism, right?
Which it was. Still, I could still see the way it's being more towards focusing on the character of the American, because the guy, I felt that the guy Pajitnov lost more in comparison to Egerton, to Hank Rogers' character. But then again, they went to do a business together. Like they ended up living close together. So
Now they're both very rich. So
they're both very rich at the end of the day. But still, I found that kind of imbalance as well.
Yeah, and it's funny because then like you have like, to speak for BlackBerry, because I had the privilege of seeing it, it actually goes against that kind of like capitalist utopia, because the story of BlackBerry is a story about how capitalism ultimately killed BlackBerry phones. Because they tried to do too much and were short-sighted, and that's what failed them.
In a way, if there's a drama about a brand or a company and the company has like a big stake in it, right? It makes me worried that they won't really take the gloves off, you know what I mean? And like Steve Jobs is a brilliant film, I think, because it really kind of shows the flaws of that man, you know what I mean? In a way that the Ashton Kutcher one just shies away from completely. But like BlackBerry,
Danny Boy, Steve Jobs,
brilliant film.
Quick trivia about that. It takes place over 3 periods of timers, right?
Yeah.
So Danny Boyle actually went from using film.
Yeah. I've heard this.
Then the 80s. I think he went to the like VHS style, and then he went to digital in the 90s, late 20s.
I think it was 16 millimeter. Then 35 millimeter for the middle section, and then digital for the.
And then you're right. That's the one. Yes, that's exactly the one. But that's a good. But you are right about Steve Jobs. Steve Jobs was a very. They showed the complexity of the man.
Yeah.
all right, guys, shall we conclude it here? I think that's a good section to end it, because tomorrow I have a double screener. I'm gonna go watch Air and then watch Super Mario.
Mela, come say hi, because
We'll see.
I'll be working with Valletta, man.
That's
right.
quite the capitalist viewing, I have to say.
Ooh, true.
Watching a film about the great success of a shoe, and then a film funded by the greediest gaming company there is.
Yeah. Get the McDonald's off.
Which one?
Nintendo, Franco.
Wait. He's going to watch. Wait.
He's going to go watch Super Mario.
Super Mario in there.
By the way, Tetris was not sponsored by Nintendo. This one, right?
No.
I mean, they portray Nintendo very positively, to be fair, Franco. Did you notice how positively they were like, no, Nintendo would never bribe this guy.
I find Nintendo really funny, because like a lot of people are like, I think it's because they make like games like Super Mario and like Zelda and stuff, like cartoon characters. People are like, Nintendo, they're okay. But then you're like, no, they're like one of the greediest companies out there.
They are. I love Nintendo. I have a soft spot for Nintendo. I'm very biased.
They had the Spanish decision. They had the Spanish division. No Nintendo. Sorry.
Oh my god. Jeez.
Yeah, time to end it here.
No. Please pick it up.
Guys.
Thanks for having me, guys. It was a real blast.
Absolute
really
pleasure.
appreciate it.
Yes, thank you for joining us, Bruce. Anytime you want to join us.
Thank you for the blood bath. Now we have to clean ourselves up. Guys, if you
watch Elvis and have a great night, man. No, I'm joking.
that sounds like a terrible.
All right.
I'm gonna go watch Succession now, so that sounds like a much better time.
I'm gonna watch Andor. I'm gonna watch another episode of
Nice.
Andor.
That's a very good.
Joe, what are you watching?
All right, guys. Yeah, Joe. True.
Undecided. I've got a feeling. It's going to be Aliens, because the Blu-ray's been making eyes at me for a while.
I admire you guys' abilities to stay up and watch, because like now I'll jump on my bed dead still.
I mean, I should go to bed, but I won't.
Me too. But you know.
And don't forget, Joe is an hour.
I'm a time traveler.
So.
Okay. There's that as well.
All right, guys. Thanks so much, as always. Thank you to our viewers and listeners.
And what should they do,
Don't forget to
Andrea?
like, subscribe, follow, comment, tell us why The Last Jedi is a horrible movie and why it deserves to be not last, because Rise of Skywalker.
Tell us also why it's the most ambitious Star Wars film that there's ever been.
And why you haven't watched Empty Man yet.
Yes. Andrea, 18 episodes in, and you haven't. We've been doing this from the first episode. The Empty Man bit.
We mentioned it in the
Yes,
first episode,
the very
right?
first episode.
Jesus, that's 18
I think
weeks.
actually episode 20 should be an Empty Man special.
I think it should.
If
true,
you
I
flash,
agree.
like, you know, like in Fight Club when they have that like subliminal
Yeah.
frame, just do that for every episode, and at a point you'll see it like subliminally, just frame at a time.
We have to do how many frames in a movie? Imagine, we have to do like
it's not a short
1,000.
it's not a short film as well. It's about 2 hours and 40 minutes. So it's going to be a lot.
Forget it. I'm not watching it.
Wait, so
Forget
wait.
Wait. You saw Avatar.
Exactly, and you wasted how many hours on Willow? Like 8 hours of that shit, and you won't watch 2 hours and 40 minutes of a film that Franco
And
and I recommended to you in 18 episodes.
how long is Super Mario?
1 hour 30 minutes.
And how long?
No,
and how long is Air?
No, but there is a good movie. Looks
But
like a
how
good
long is
movie.
it?
2 hours.
2 hours.
hours.
Okay, that's
So
3.5
so-
hours of your life.
Exactly.
No, but Air looks like a really good movie, and I love dad movies. Air looks like a real
It
dad
doesn't really
movie.
that movie, to be fair.
Like Ford v Ferrari. I love those movies, man. I just adore dad movies. But let's end it there, guys.
All the best, guys.
Thanks so much for watching, guys. And we'll see you guys next time. Ciao, ciao.